to the drama castle. Overheard them mention hater, not a pretty word like moist or moisture. Wanna quit, but you know I'm a soldier. Try to get me out, you know it's game over. Say it's toxic, chaotic, unhealthy. Always play my cards right, don't test me. I'm not here to play nice, no I can't be. And if you're trying to stop me, that's a guarantee. Too many people try to get me out, and it worked for a second, but I'm back now, better than ever. Welcome to the drama castle. I am your drama queen, and welcome to the drama castle. You try to stop me, but you can't. Too many people try to stop me, but you can't. You can't.
Let's get it right. This is it, my friend. It's the last straw, the final frontier. This is the end, my friend. You've gone too far. You've gone too far. Ranking Ranger, old enough to know better, Power Ranger. Old enough to know better, Green Ranger. Said you about to save the Power Rangers. He said he about to save the Power Rangers. Yeah, you've gone too far. Living in a fantasy of lying, and you don't stop lying. Ranking Ranger, old enough to know better, Power Ranger. Old enough to know better, Green Ranger. Said you about to save the Power Rangers. He said he about to save the Power Rangers. Yeah, you've gone too far, living in a fantasy of lying, and you don't stop lying. Yeah. Ranking Ranger, old enough to know better, Power Ranger. Old enough to know better, Green Ranger. Said you about to save the Power Rangers. He said he about to save the Power Rangers. Yeah, you've gone too far, living in a fantasy of lying, and you don't stop lying. Yeah. Ranking Ranger, old enough to know better, Power Ranger. Old enough to know better, Green Ranger. Said you about to save the Power Rangers. He said he about to save the Power Rangers. Ranking Ranger, old enough to know better, Power Ranger. Old enough to know better, Green Ranger. Said you about to save the Power Rangers. He said he about to save the Power Rangers.
What's up? What is up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. This is going to be a hot one. Yes, sir, it is. Hello, hello, hello. I am here. And yes, Henry. Yes, Henry. I'm going to be on cam, you jerk. But not yet. My guest actually wanted to be on cam. So I can't, if he wants to be on cam, I'll be on cam. But I do have a special guest now. I know we talked a little bit about this yesterday. We touched bases on it. And I did get my witness, my testimony about this situation. But first, let me say hi to the chat real quick. I don't want to keep my guest waiting too long because, this is last minute. And I know he got a life. The last thing he wants to do is spend time reminiscing about this. But anyways, yeah. Hello, Henry. How are you, my lovely friend? Hello, Jillykins. Hello, beautiful people. Yes, DDH1. Hello, how are you? Me, I'm also here. Hi, Revelations. How you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Anthony is here. What is up, Anthony? We got Hate and Nate. Hello, Hate and Nate. Shattered Night. All my mods always turn up for the streams. Appreciate y'all for turning up. We got more people definitely coming. As they come in, I'll try to say hi to y'all. But once I get my guest on, I'm going to ignore the chat like I usually do. I'm just kidding. I will pay attention to y'all. Trust me. And let's see. That's all we got. So good. There we go. I got through everybody in the chat. Let's just go ahead and bring on my guest. Let's get this done, shall we? Because we're here to talk about Christopher Khayman Lee. And to do that, I'm going to bring on the one and only. His name is Blake. He is a long friend of mine, and I thank him so much for being here. So, boom, here he is, and here I am. You're muted, though. Yeah, unmute, sir. Yeah, unmute. There we go. Hi, Blake.
I'm sorry, I'm not good with this tech stuff. I apologize.
No, you're good. I'm just glad to have you on. It's been so long. How long have we known each other now? I think we're going on almost a decade.
We are going on almost a decade, and it has been awesome. If Power Rangers has given me nothing else, it has been a source of great friendships. I'll give it that.
100%. Because if it wasn't for our past with a certain actor, we would have never met.
Oh, that's facts. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what all you have told everybody. I apologize. With 3 kids, a fiance, another one on the way. I don't have much time to indulge in podcasts. You know, I love you. I would listen to every episode if I had time, but unfortunately, there's only 24 hours in the day. But I don't know what all you've told everybody. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this.
Yeah, I told him a little bit. So first, let's start off with how you and I met, and I'll let you tell that story.
Okay, that's a fun one. That started at LexCon 2017, actually. Chris and Justin Nemo, they were both attendants there. So I met both of them. Was just regular average fan there. But Nemo has a way of connecting with fans. He always has. And so like Ranger Stop was doing a raffle basket. Yeah, that's the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got this basket with like a mega winger and a figure and a signed t-shirt and just some autographs, a bunch of cool stuff in it. And so I'm pouring every dollar I have into this. Like, we had just gotten tax returns back. Like, I had saved up for this thing. Like, I'm throwing money into this. Like, it's gonna be like my lottery ticket. So I'm going back and just buying more tickets. So Justin's talking to me every time I'm going back, and like I find out about his Silver Legion, which is the street team started by Martha. I think it's Stop. I messed that name up, but all due respect to her, she's the one that came up with that. But that's what was all on the back of the shirt was the Silver Legion, Justin's his social media tags, all that good stuff. And I was like, man, this is really cool. Like they're promoting the hell out of this guy. He's doing this the right way. And I was like, surely, like, everybody's caught on to this by now. Like, this has to be the most ingenious thing I've ever seen. So, as much as I was a fan of Nemo, I was also a fan of Chris. I don't know this guy from Adam at this point. He's just hero in a red suit at this point. So that's when I reached out to his social media. I don't know that you run this yet. I don't get a response back for a little while. I'm sure it's buried amongst, every other fan message he gets. But just randomly one night, I get that message back from the page, and I'm like, this is really cool. And you were just kind of bouncing forth back in questions. And yeah, I find out it's you running the page. And because I noticed, I knew you because you used to do the introductions for Chris, before he would come on, to do his live streams. You were the one that, did the intros for him. And I was like, that's really cool. So I knew who you were. And so we just kind of started talking about that. So yeah, that's literally me and you met through that interaction. Was me just sending that just initial, just like, hey, do you have a street team? So that interaction came from me just being curious, like, surely everybody's got one of these and I want to be a part of it. I did not know we were going to be forming it, but that sent us down a very long path of a lot of drama, a lot of heartache, a lot of fun, though. Like, I will say that. I mean, it was like, to this day, almost 7, 8 years later, I still think about, just the nights there, just brainstorming sessions, what we were going to do, different logo designs, how we were going to present things. It was a lot of fun. It was a great time in my life, but um but that was definitely, that first interaction, like me and you have been, friends ever since. I think it's funny
Right.
now thinking back on it that, now that my everybody didn't see that interaction, but my son messages you now, we're talking about his music career and things like that. And it's awesome. Just to have that family friend, you're up in the Northeast. We're down in Ohio now, the armpit of America, but
Yeah.
just to be able to share life together. We haven't got to hang out really one on one like we've always wanted to, but I always know you're a phone call away. And it's been awesome. And the people we've had come into our lives along the way too. I mean, I don't think we can count, if we put ourselves together on our fingers and toes, how many people we've interacted with through all of this. And it's been great.
Yeah, yeah, because I remember that too. So, I think I told them yesterday about how you approached the Chris's fan page, asking about if he had a street team. And I remember when I got that message, um, I immediately texted Chris and said, "Hey, do you know anything about street team?" And he said, "Yeah, no, the fans do that and stuff." I said, "Well, I got this guy in the messages asking if you wanted one." And he's like, yeah, no, ask him some, yeah, that sounds good. Ask him some questions about it, like what the expectation is. And like, yeah, you guys can do that. He said, I'll let you handle that. You handle that with that person. And that's what I said. Yeah, I was on board. Blake seemed like a really enthusiastic fan, and he seemed really cool. So we got to talking, and we exchanged numbers, and we talked pretty much almost every single day. I was basically like his second wife at that point. We talked almost every single day. And organizing the street team, and we wanted to do it for the fans, more so, but also helping Chris. And that's when things were going smooth for a while, and then we reached our first situation, which was the Moniker Entertainment drama. Chris's booking agent.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to touch on that. That was one of the greatest parts about it, because when we started out, that was so key to what was going to be success. Was, you know, so many times you get people that are very, very much about themselves, that, but within our group, as far as me and you, uh, we were very much together about this is for the fans. And I think we knew the recipe for to make Chris very successful was to, give the fans, that interaction, and give the fans what they needed, and reward the people that were taking their time to spread, a positive message about him on social media. And that chemistry was just there. And I look back on what, had we had the place and the time and somebody willing to give that same amount of energy, it would have taken off. And we'll get more into it as this show goes along, but the success that could have come out of that, it's still really sad to know what could have been.
Right, because we put a lot of our time, efforts, and money into, getting the street team and getting Chris, what he wanted, which is, the fan base to be good and strong, and get him to go to these conventions so that his fans would come up and meet him and he make some money. But since I have you here, do you feel, looking back on everything, I think, and I've said this many times, I feel like Chris's motivation has always been more about the money than anything else.
Um, I never wanted to say that early on. I really wanted to believe that he was about his fans, and you kind of have that false hope as a fan. But sadly, I believe you're right. I hate saying that. I really do. I know that there's a lot of fans out there still that want to believe that, Christopher and Andros are one and the same. But at some point you have to step away and you have to realize that there is Chris the human and Andros the character, and it's not the same. And unfortunately, through my experience, through your experience, through literally every one of my friends, and that's the biggest problem I've had out of this. Like, these aren't sour grapes. Like, I'm willing to walk away. I mean, maybe it was just me. Like, I wasn't all right in this. I'm not sitting here to tell you like I did everything perfectly. I wasn't. I'm human. But
same.
But it's been every single person that's had an interaction. So when it's everybody, brother, it can't be everybody. It's you, man. And
I say that all the time. If everybody is having similar issues, the issue isn't everybody else. The issue is you.
So, I mean, at that point, yeah, because it's been proven time and time again that you are awesome as long as you're either worshiping, or you are giving money, or you are at his beck and call, or unfortunately, as I've seen with some of my female friends, I mean, if you're there to be sexualized, or if you're there to be I don't know what are my restrictions on YouTube here. I don't know how far I can take this.
Just don't say the R word.
Oh,
just don't say the R word or racial slurs or anything, and you're good.
Well, I definitely don't want to take it that far anyways, but because like I've never known of him to R word anybody, but
no, yes, nobody's accusing him of that here. I just was letting you know the rules of YouTube, things you can't really say that don't get you in trouble.
Yeah, I don't do this. This is like the first outside of just some random little like shows I did with my friends. Like, this is the first actual
we did
podcast
a whole
I've ever done.
Virtual Power Ranger convention. What do you mean? Remember the Facebook Power Ranger con we did?
Oh my God, we did do that.
Yes, I spent 24/7. I spent a whole day doing that with you. We had a awesome Power Ranger virtual con. Yeah, we did that. We did the first virtual Power Ranger convention on Facebook. The first year, I think, of the pandemic.
Why did I mentally block that out? That was so fun, but I think it was just so hectic that day. Like, I was just like, oh my God, because my questions ended up becoming stale out of that. I was like, I was almost like,
it was a good time. You got all the guests. Like, you got all the guests. You got the Ninja Storm Crimson Ranger. You got Adam.
Because I was working for him. Like, that's when we were doing
you got the Katrina, you got the Katrinas.
Yeah, I mean, I was so lucky on that one. Just to be, we can get into that a little bit later, because I know that's not the point of the episode, but it's like I was so exhausted, and then I was just kind of like Chris Farley interviewing Paul McCartney on SNL. I was like, oh, you were a Power Ranger. That's really cool. Like, I was on that sort of like fanboy autopilot. I was rough at that, but I did. And
look, we have somebody who remembers. Yeah, we did the virtual con, the Power Ranger virtual convention we did during the pandemic. Yeah, some people remember these things.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching that, and I seriously, I just want you guys to know we did that for you guys. We didn't want to charge anybody. We didn't want to. We just literally wanted to put something out there for you guys, just to have some fun, and I hope it was fun for you guys, because we did our best. But anyways, to jump back on because I don't want to sidetrack too much. I can get sidetracked so easily.
Me too. Listen, don't worry about it. We it's all good. But yeah, If it's not clipped, it didn't happen. It's still on Facebook. It's still there. It's still up there. The convention we did is still up there. There's a whole page that still exists for it.
Wow. Like, I don't even know if I want to go back to watch my performance on that, but actually, come to think about it, someone liked one of those videos. I want to say it was about a year ago, and I was like, "Oh my god, this still exists!" Like, wow.
Yeah, it's still up there. It still exists. So yes, it doesn't have to be clipped, Henry. It still exists. But yeah, sorry, we got a little sidetracked. But yeah, because I want to ask you, going back to Chris, because like the reason that started this and why I hit you up yesterday was because I was kind of ranting and raving about it on my stream yesterday, which was unrelated. Anyways, it just kind of segued there. But we were talking about the infamous call that you were on with me and Christopher Khayman Lee. And do you remember that call?
There's been several infamous calls. I think I know the one you're talking about, but like, let's be clear, there's been several that have been infamous.
I just remember the one, to be honest with you, because that one stood out more because I know for a fact you were on that call and your reaction was just that was the one that was like, I think it was the first call where he said something inappropriate while we were on a three-way call talking business.
You got to understand, like, when I came on board with you, you had been around him for a while. So anytime he would say out of pocket shit, like, that was like a whoa moment for me. Like, to you, that was just another day at the office,
Pretty much.
I mean, for me, like, him being like, I'm gonna bend you over, I'm like, what, bro?
Right.
Bro, what?
Right.
you gonna do what?
Right, on the phone. I think this is when we were discussing the drama around him and his booking agent, and we were talking about having one of us book him for conventions. And yeah, he randomly, when we were talking about booking for conventions, Blake and I were like throwing out convention places, where he is at or conventions he's aware of. And yeah, randomly he was just like, yeah, Ray, you need to get to one of these conventions, we got to get you to one of these conventions because I can't wait to get you in a room and bend you over. And Blake's on the call. Blake is on the call with us.
Blake did not want to be on the call anymore.
Blake did.
I was like, I am a witness now. This sucks.
And I even hit up Blake after, and I'm just like, I am so sorry that happened. That's so, because like, it's one thing when you say it to the person, it's a one conversation, but when you got a third, that was a little wild.
Well, it was wild. You were apologizing to me. I was like, I need to apologize to you. Like, I am sorry. Like, this is wow. I was also like, is there something more going on you need to tell me about? Or, like, am I third wheeling here? What's going on?
Yeah, it was very, very awkward. And that's Chris had no filter and he had no chill. So yeah, and like Blake said, that wasn't even the first conversation he's heard Chris say that to. And I'm not really accusing him. By the way, I forgot to put out the disclaimer in the beginning, but I just wanted to be clear that like, we're not here telling the story to try to get anyone canceled. We're not trying to tell their story for any other reasons. Like, and nothing we're saying is defamatory. Like, this is our personal experiences and our opinions about what happened to us and what we've observed while working for Christopher Khayman Lee. So I don't want anyone to take this and try to put some words in our mouths we're not saying. We're not telling the story for any reason other than getting closure for the most part and kind of just putting that information out there. And y'all fans out there, you do with what you want with it, like you have been doing, because again, this is not the first time we've tried to call out Chris and tell people like, hey, this is the guy you're giving money to, this is what he does to people.
To be fair, this is the first time I've done it, but but the other thing that I want to point out in that is, like, we say all the time, and I feel like we wrongly mislabel it. We did not work for him. We were never paid a dime.
Nope.
We as a matter of fact, we put more financially into it than Chris ever did. Chris's flights were paid for by the conventions. Chris's hotels were paid for by the conventions. And he also got a stipend. That was Kelly's job to do. Now, on the back end, going to the start of the street team, me and Ray were very, and I mean very adamant that we were going to do things for fans because that's what Justin did. I mean, that's what I was basing everything off of, because I mean, Justin literally cared about his fans. When I left his street team to go break off and do this, like, I didn't want to cause any drama or waves. I just left. I kind of ghosted Nemo. That kind of sounds bad, but I did. I mean, that's what happened.
Yeah.
But the man called me, like literally called my cell phone, messaged my Facebook, got my number, and called me. And I was like, my 12-year-old self doesn't know how to handle this right
That's
now.
what Justin did. That's what Justin did, though. He had no problem. That's how I met Justin. He has no problem messaging you and then calling you, giving you his personal phone. It was crazy. I'm like, this man's just giving his personal phone number out to strangers, and he don't know if we crazy.
He doesn't. And actually, I'm wrong about that, and I apologize to all of Ray's listeners. That's not actually what happened. I did silently leave. But I didn't leave because it was just, time to go. If you remember, it was because of what happened with Allison. I had forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I left because I was just going to kind of hang around and just just not do anything. But, I wasn't going to leave because it was Nemo. But
I met her, by the way. Did I tell you that? I met her in real life after all that. She doesn't live too far. So I went and
you
drove.
didn't tell me that. She
Yes.
did.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I went out there a few years back and met her, but just to give y'all, because I don't want to dive too much into that situation, but basically, there was a fan who was part of Justin Nemo's street team that was having some issues with the people who were running the street team and had some issues that kind of bled into her issues with Justin Nemo. And, she would come to Blake and I about her issues, primarily with the people who initially ran Justin Nemo's street team and her mistreatment there. And, eventually that kind of ended with, her coming over to Chris's street team with us.
Yeah, I mean, we were freshly starting. I mean, she was doing some artwork there, and we were just like, random. Yeah, I mean, we were just like, I mean, if you want to make some stuff for us, that'd be great. I mean, we're not gonna. I mean, we're free labor as is. We're not gonna deny more free labor.
Right.
We're not gonna deny more. We're not gonna deny a helping hand. I mean, that's crazy. So yeah, that's what ended up what happened there. But regardless, Nemo did call me, and I was able to save that relationship, and I've got a friend for life out of it. I haven't talked to him as much since he's been married, but I understand how married life goes, and he's got a family and things he's tending to, and I see things are going great. He's beat cancer. I'm very, very pleased to hear that.
Yeah. We love Justin Nemo, by the way. This is not about Justin Nemo, but unfortunately, he got himself involved in drama. I told them about the whole payment scandal that happened back in the day. But we're all good with Justin. Justin's fantastic. We love him.
Yeah, and I unfortunately just to hit that on a side note, I don't think he meant any harm in that. I think he was just literally trying to do good guy things and got himself in a bad situation. But
right, which is what I said too yesterday. I said that I told the whole story. I said, yeah, it wasn't like Justin was being malicious with that situation. It was more just he was trying to do the good thing that he thought was good, and it just didn't end good for him. But he meant well.
They say never meet your heroes. If you want to meet Nemo, go ahead.
See, I said that. I said out of all the Power Ranger actors we had experiences with, Nemo is definitely up there on the top of you definitely want to meet Justin Nemo. He is a sweetheart. He can be a savage when he needs to be, but he's just really sweet. He's very grateful to his fans. He isn't all about the money like everybody else is, even though the money definitely helps, especially with all his bills he got, but he's a sweet, sweet man. And he definitely is deserving of, y'all's time and any money you want to put into supporting him 100%.
No, absolutely. I mean, and that's the ones you definitely want to support. I mean, but to get back on track here, where were we at in this story?
We were talking about Chris's inappropriate comments.
Yes.
Which is just scratching the surface.
That was one, and I think that's what led me to bringing up Nemo in the first place, because if you remember, Ray, and I have no idea how I'm going to say this, but do you know where I'm going?
I think so.
That he's a field and Justin's a house. I was like, Chris, buddy, I don't care where you're from. That's not cool, brother. That's not cool.
That comments that he said about he made
the way Kelly treated him. Or Kelly.
Yeah, he so to make you guys understand what he's talking about, Chris had referred him and Justin to I'm not gonna say the word exactly, but you guys, if you know, you know. He basically said that he was the field N-word and Justin Nemo was a house N-word. If you guys don't know what that means, I mean, this dates back to slavery, y'all, where you either the field black person, black people that worked out in the field, did all the hard work, and then there was the house black people that were the ones that pretty much were basically the butlers. They got to learn to read and write. Yeah, that is the analogy Christopher Khayman Lee gave to us about the difference between him and Justin Nemo. I told you guys, I told them how Chris would always talk shit about other Power Ranger actors, and then like behind their back and then to their faces, he's just like, "Oh, my brother, I love you, my brother." Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it was, and I mean, it was another one of those moments, and I'm like, Ray is right here. Like, I'm like, oh my god, oh god. Like,
remember when he told you when we got into it with the Deshaun thing, and he told you and other people it must be a black thing?
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god. Like, that was and I like oh jeez, yeah. Yeah, I never told Deshaun that either. Like, I was never going to tell him that. Like, because that was going to end up bad. Oh, you did?
I did tell him eventually. Yeah, I did tell him about that situation. Yeah, because
I didn't feel qualified to. So
yeah, I told that story to my audience before. Like, yeah. So just to give you context, when we were getting into it with Chris's agent, Mobile Moniker, that was the name of the thing. I think they're still running. But me and Blake got into it with Chris's booking agent about a lot of things, and it got down to we had this person, part of our street team, who was a typical black Southern guy, and he definitely had the black Southern vocals, right? And he was always getting into it with this woman too, and it got to a point where he just got fed up with this woman always trying to control everything we were doing. And he said some stuff a little out of pocket, but I'm looking back on it, it was definitely warranted. That woman was way out of line. She stepped over so many boundaries with us. But because Chris wanted money and he wanted, and he needed her to book him for conventions, he he wanted us to get rid of him because to him he was unprofessional. He was too, I guess, hood for the street team, and he didn't want his name attached to this guy. And I tried to fight for him. We tried to fight for him. Me and Blake both. We did try to fight for him. And because I fought for him, Chris made the comment to Blake and I think another person and said, "Yeah, it must be a black thing. It must be a black thing because she's defending." She's a black chick defending a black guy, so it must be about race. Yeah, he said that.
Right about that time is when everything kind of started to spiral. Yep. I mean, because like as soon as that fracture happens, because like then you start chipping away at our core group. because, like, you know, like him or not, Deshaun was our friend, and
Right.
and like him or not, he was there and, you know, wanted to help us and wanted to help us succeed, and, you know, shared the same vision as we did. And as soon as it became like, I mean, as soon as I'm on that call separate of you, and oh, it's a black thing. All right, now we're separating everybody. Like, it's like, okay, Blake, you know what to do, and, like, obviously Ray is taking his side, and it almost feels like he's saying, you know, she's trying to, you know, take that side, and, you know, you need to do what's best for business here. And, like, so, like, that's where the fracture starts happening. And we haven't even got to like the naming stuff. Like, we've skipped some chapters here.
We definitely been bouncing around. Yeah, we definitely been bouncing around. But I mean, you brought up the house and field comment, and I was like, yeah, and that's, you know, and then the whole it's a black thing. And the thing I want to add to that too is, like, I defended him, Deshaun, because yeah, he was our friend, and also I want to remind everyone we weren't getting paid for what we're doing, and that included Deshaun. Like, he wasn't getting paid by Chris or any of us. We were all free labor. We were volunteers, basically, just trying to help out somebody we liked and cared about. And we put in hours. I'm talking like hours into this. So when it came down to it, I had, you know, I was going to fight for our friend, because we primarily wanted to do this not just to help Chris, but it was fun. It was fun for us. We had fun. We found, you know, friends. We found a community that we were part of, and we wanted to do so much for the fans, like Blake said earlier, and we were just blocked at every chance we got, because it always came down to the money was more important than the fans, and having them have an experience rather than, you know, what we can financially gain. I mean, I told them about the t-shirts that we were going to do for free, that were going to come out of my pockets and your pockets. We were going to put the money together to get t-shirts for the fans for free, not sell them like he's doing now, but for free.
Yeah, I mean, and I want, while we're talking about like that core group, I do want to bring Allison back into that, just because, like, she was a part of that core group, and, like, I do feel like she deserves to be mentioned. Um, you know, she was there early on and talking to us, and, you know, I don't want her to be left out. I mean, I feel like her name gets left out of that a lot, and, you know, it's not fair, because she was there, part of that core, you know, original group. And
She was. I just didn't bring her up because I didn't know if you wanted to, because, you know, I know that hurt her a lot, because, but since we bring it up, I'll say, like, to get a little deep diver into that situation, what had happened really was that Allison, just like the rest of us, was doing a lot of free work. And now her work is, she was a graphic artist. So she would make a lot of promotional graphics for, you know, promotion for like Justin Nemo and stuff like that. And it took a lot of time and for her to do all that. And at one point, the way that the street team for Justin Nemo ran, it's like the issues that she found was that they were in high demand. Like, they wanted her to push out stuff quickly. And it's like, but she wasn't getting paid. So she decided that she was going to ask for compensation for her time and work. And they basically said to her, no. And then she said, well, like, I can't do it as quickly as you want. Then if you're not going to pay me for the time you're asking, then I can't do it when you expect it. And they basically gaslit her. And I don't mean Justin. Justin didn't gaslight her. It was the people who ran that street team that were putting pressure on her, gaslighting her, telling her that she's being over dramatic and that asking for money is crazy. I saw all the conversations, you know, Blake saw the conversations. And it was that point when we first kind of got a taste of how bad the fandom really was behind the scenes, is that incident with her.
yeah, and, you know, morally, you know, I just, you know, me and Ray both, I don't think we could sit there and just allow that to happen. You know, we had an up and coming street team. We saw somebody that was proud of their work, and we wanted them to be a part of it. So, you know, we, as much as it was helping us out, we wanted to give her a spot that she could feel appreciated. And, you know, that's at least what we tried to do. But I will say also that unfortunately, just because I mean we're on here, we're talking about it. Martha, mobile moniker, they were able to get in Chris's ear as well, and that ended up causing problems for us as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Big problems. I mean, they try to block us, and Chris allowed it. You know, Chris was the one who wanted us to run his street team, and he wanted us to like work with him. But when somebody else who had, I guess, more experience in the booking agent, like I just want to put this out there, the only person, like, her responsibility, that whole agent stuff, the only job they really had was to book them for conventions, to get them cons. And for some reason, this woman wanted to control everything. And you know, that started with the street team. First, they wanted her people to work on the street team. We had already built our street team. We were already like a few months in on the street team. So now they wanted to come in and take it over, and they kind of basically pushed us, well, pushed Chris to push us into allowing her designated street team person who was running Justin Nemo's street team to kind of come to us. And then we had found out too that they were doing that to watch us. They were talking bad about us. Oh, they're doing a bad job. And we would go to Chris like, Chris, why are you letting this happen? Why can't we just run it the way, you know, we're talking about it with Chris on how to run this? And he would always just be like, well, you know, she's my booking agent. It's like, okay, but we're your friends and we were here first and we were doing this first. Why, if you don't want us to do it, then we could just fuck off. And he was just like, no, no, no. And he'd always talk to them and say, hey, like, these are, let them do it. It was always a fight, right? And it was so simple because, again, we're doing free work, right? Why are we arguing with a booking agent about something that has nothing to do with what her job entails? I mean, Francis even got involved in it. We'll get to that too, because that's how, you know, Francis got involved. You remember when Francis got involved, when she went after Francis because she's trying to like poach Jason David Frank.
I do remember that, and there's a lot of unfortunity around that situation that even I have to admit was wrong on my part. But we'll get to that. But I will say, you know, in building that team, and how Mobile Moniker handled that, you know, we got harassed at every single turn. I mean, you know, the fact of the matter is that name, that name for the Red Raiders came from, it was literally me and you on a phone call one night. And, you know, because again, I'm fully admitting right here live in front of everybody, this is me poaching an idea from Martha. Like it fully came from her Silver Legion. Like, this is based off of what Nemo had, and me wanting, you know, at the point I realized that Chris didn't have anything like this, I was like, well, let's build something like this for Chris. I mean, it's like he's with Mobile Moniker. I don't see there being a problem. But then, you know, it's me and you. We're bouncing names back and forth. Like, I don't even remember all the names that we went through, but eventually it was Red Raiders because, like, I am a college football team, or excuse me, a college football fan. And I know that's Texas Tech. So, like, I didn't think like anything of it. I just thought the name sounded cool. Red Raiders. I was like, it just works. I mean, so we take that back to Chris. He likes it. He signs off on it. Like, we're good. You know, then they start threatening us with like, well, you can't do that. And, you know, you can't, you know, you're going to get us sued. You're going to get us. I was like, Kelly, if we're so big that Texas Tech sends us a cease and desist, I'll change the name. I swear to God.
Right.
Like, if we get so big that we get their attention, I've done my job, and I will gladly change the name.
Right. Right. Which is a name they still use till this day, by the way, on t-shirts and everything, which I find hilarious. But yeah, that like I said, that's just a taste. Now let's get to the meat and potatoes here. Let's go back to Chris Soley.
All right.
Do you remember the stream he did with I remember his name now, Lord Tristan. That was his name. Lord Tristan, when he was completely shit-faced and shitting on Jason David Frank because he thought Jason David Frank blocked him from one of the conventions. Remember that?
I was okay. So for that one, I was not on that one. I was actually at, if you remember, I was actually at hockey with Logan that night.
Yes.
Uh,
But I told you about it afterwards because we were talking about. I was like, this dude really went live and was shitting on Jason David Frank publicly with another fan.
You did. I went back and watched it, and I'm like, oh shit, we're cooked. Like, we're done.
Yep.
Like there's no recovering from it. You just attack the like you just attacked the franchise player for Power Rangers. What are you doing? Oh god.
Right.
Like you like we're gonna be outed from the Power Ranger community by morning. But here's the thing about that. Not only like did he do that, but once I heard him out, because now I'm listening to him, like he had like actively turned me against JDF for a long time, and I'm willing to admit that. Like I was bitter towards JDF, and I'll tell you why. With working with Chris and working with Rando, um we had planned out this entire what we had called the Voodoo Gator tour, and it it was an entire like swing of conventions through Louisiana. I want to say it was Shreveport, Baton Rouge, and then ending in New Orleans. And we were going to go down there as a crew, and I think you were involved, Ray, right? Or
I don't think I was.
well, for a fact I know it was me, Chris, and Rando, and there was a fourth person that I don't know who the fourth person was, but I know it was the four of us, or
It
there's
might have
four
been.
people.
I think that was Alyssa.
That could have been Alyssa. It could have been
Alyssa, because after me and after convincing him to work with another agent, which was Alyssa, and then we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Like I said, buckle up, guys. We have a lot. We just kind of get into like some of the stuff, but go on.
But during that, so we get interest, and we're like, we're gonna go do this. We're gonna film everything. We're gonna film us doing like a bunch of this cool Cajun stuff. Like we're gonna eating exotic foods like alligators and like random stuff, and we're just gonna interact with fans, and we're gonna hit comic book stores, and we're just gonna sign autographs and just have a blast, film ourselves doing goofy stuff. Like it's gonna be like Jackass meets like day in the life of a Power Ranger. I don't know how you want to put it, but we were just gonna have fun. We had this whole big plan. It was just gonna be great. And so like Chris is hyped about it, we're hyped about it, like bags are packed, we're doing this. And we get this message back like from Chris that JDF has blocked us because they are Wizards of the Coast conventions. And we're like, what? Now, I have no proof of that.
I remember that call. You called me on that one. You and Chris called me about that.
Like I don't have proof. I can't give you physical proof of that. But I have my info came from Chris. Now, where he got that info, I don't know. But what I do know is like that soured me on JDF so bad because I was so excited for that trip. And I felt like that would have been such a launching point for us and what we were trying to do for fans, because, we were going to go out and just hang out with fans and like just all this cool stuff. And I was like, why? Like, why block us? And then, that's when Chris goes on the tangent of, well, it's because he doesn't want anybody there to take any money from him and all this other stuff. And so that caused a lot of bitter and hard feelings. And that was when like my, that's when I started really looking at the financial aspects of Power Rangers. And, it's not just, oh, a bunch of cool actors want to go out and meet their fans. I was like, this is a money machine. And yeah, I had a lot of bad feelings for Jason for a long time. And, you know, it took me talking to a lot of people, understanding the situation, learning about Chris, and learning that this stuff really wasn't the case. And I was in the wrong. You know, it sucks, but I was wrong about it. And
Right.
so,
Well, did I tell you real quick? I don't know if you remember if I told you or not. I don't even remember. But when I had found out that Chris was blocked from that convention, I reached out to Francis because you know that I had a at the time friendly relationship with Francis. We became friends after, but like I had a friendly relationship with Francis, and I messaged her and I asked her, "Hey, does Jason have anything in his contract which prevents other Power Ranger actors from going to conventions?" And she said, "Absolutely not." And I told her, I said, "Well, this is what Chris is saying." Because she knew that I ran Chris's fan page at the time. I believe I was still running his fan page at the time that happened too. So actually, it wasn't Alyssa that was his agent; it was Kelly. So, she said, "Absolutely not. That is not true. I don't know where he got that from, but that Jason's not blocking other actors from going to the convention." So yeah, Francis, I did talk to Francis about that at the time that happened. She said that that was not true.
yeah, but then it just kind of like it kept on like a simple thing from Francis wasn't enough, you know. It like it it seemed like Chris kept that anger for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and then you fast forward to all these years later, and then they're at a convention together and they're taking pictures together like nothing ever
Right,
happened. I'm like,
right.
guy, like I sat here and listened to you like run him down, and we couldn't even say the word green on a call without you getting pissed off. Like, what are you doing?
Right, right, because he was that pressed. And then I said the same thing. I saw that picture of him with Jason Akon calling him brother, and that's the issue I had, for the longest time with Chris is like he would shit talk other actors, and then all of a sudden to their faces, "That's my brother. Oh my god, I love you. We're family." And I'm just like, bro, the other day you were just like literally just shitting on this person, and now here you are acting like that didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, you know, it's one thing for him to have those feelings, you know, and just come out and say, "Hey, I was wrong about this." I mean, it's okay to be wrong, man. You're human. But to to stand there and believe you were in the right the whole time and then just sweep it under the rug, it's kind of shitty.
Right, but here's the thing,
Like,
this isn't the industry though, Monkey Jeebus. This is not the industry. These are actors who aren't even really doing much these days. They're doing conventions. That's how they're making their money and little side projects, trying to stay relevant. And with especially in Chris's case, that's what it was because he first went up to doing this comic book that he was so passionate about, and you don't do that anymore. To now, all he does is play video games on Twitch. Barely, I get more views than Christopher Khayman Lee on the internet, dude. Like what? He had a YouTube channel and he does Twitch streaming. Somebody said yesterday that he was streaming the other day and he had like 5 people watching him. I have more views than he does.
you're a superstar, Ray. I know why.
Well, according to the chat, it's because of my tatas. Because that's all they're for. This is why I don't get on cam, because y'all just sexualize me. But anyway, sorry. But yeah, no, I wanted to talk about that because the one thing that I had mentioned, and this is true. I don't care. He could try to sue me for this, but this is very true. Chris has I don't know if he still does. He had a little bit of a drinking problem. So he would, that's, you know what I'm saying? He had a little bit of a drinking problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think any of this is enough to get sued over. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, um, you know, this is just me telling stories, you telling stories about what happened, and
Right.
you know. anybody that can threaten a lawsuit off of this has way too much free time on their hands. But trying to think if there's any other stories in and here along the way. Yeah, I mean, from that picture, I mean, just kind of going along with everything that we had done. That the one picture where I'm in that, not that one, that's from 2017. That was the first time I met him, but that one, that's the one. I had worked all night. My son had a hockey game that morning, and we drove down from Lexington, Kentucky to Knoxville, Tennessee, on a Sunday because I could not make Saturday because Logan had a tournament that weekend. But we drove down, we caught the last maybe 3 hours of the convention, paid entry. Like he didn't get us in or anything, which I didn't expect him to, which is cool. It's fine. But like we paid entry for the last 3 hours of the convention. Like that's Alyssa there, the lady in the back. She's still a friend of mine. And like, so we drive, the 4.5 hours down there. We hang out the last 3 hours of the show. Nemo had already left. We help him pack up his stuff. Like we go eat like for an hour and then we go back. And like, it is just like during that time, like it just like I don't know what I expected out of it, but it just felt so dry. Like I'm sure he was tired. Like I have no doubts he was tired. He'd been there all weekend, but I'm just like, dude, we just drove like a total of like almost 9 hours in the span of 16 just to hang out with you for a matter of 5 hours. Like, give me something, give me some, not physical. Like I don't want him to give me autographs or anything, but like you give me some enthusiasm here. Like, stop complaining. It was kind of funny though. He was walking around, like he was packing up, and he was walking around the floor with Logan, and he asked Logan, he's like, so who's your favorite Ranger? And Logan doesn't know what to say. He's like, you. But I already told Chris, I was like, JDF's his favorite Ranger. So it was just kind of funny in that moment that Logan didn't know what to say. He was just kind of starstruck.
Aww.
But I bring my kids up in this instance to just talk about, you were talking about Chris's, drinking issues. That's from my departure for the street team. That's ultimately what led to that. I mean, there's so much stuff. I mean, like, we got to talk about your departure.
There's so much, but let's talk about your departure. Then we can get to my departure because you could because you were there for all that. But I brought up the drinking issues because I knew you were going to talk about the story because I did mention it on my stream yesterday about the infamous situation. So, speaking of Deshaun, he in the chat right now.
No way.
Yeah, did I not tell you? I should have told you he shows up. Yeah, Deshaun, we just talked about you in the situation that happened with you. And how Chris made a comment about me defending you being a black thing. And you missed that one. But yes, let's get into where you were going with this, because I know where you're going with this story.
I miss you, brother. It's good to see you again. Hit me up sometime. But so it's like linearly, this does not make any sense because like I stayed longer than you, but we'll hit it while we're here. So after you had left, we've got Mary Lynn, we've got Josh Helm, we've got Christian. Shout out to the Power Ranger guy. He's working with the Lunar Wolf Ranger. They're doing a lot of awesome stuff. I enjoy their Twitch streams. But so it's a Saturday morning. Now this is after one of the big national school
like elementary school shootings. It's one of the tragic ones. Like, well, I mean, they're all tragic, but like the ones that like made national headlines. Was it Sandy Hook maybe?
I don't remember, to be honest with you. There's way too many school shootings.
Yeah, like unfortunately,
Way
there's
too
way
many.
too many to pin down which exact one. But
Yeah.
so this is like happened within the week, and so this is a Saturday morning. Chris had like was live streaming and drinking the entire night before. Now you got to remember, like I'm East Coast, he's West Coast, so like he's
Right.
still up. Like this is like 6 o'clock in the morning for him. Like it's like 9 o'clock in the morning for me. Like we're up doing family stuff. So I'm on. Like I've got my like he's calling me. It's just talking about like what we're doing. Brittany, Logan, Mason, myself. This is before Emma. Like we're all in the car just driving around. Like I think we're going like I don't even remember where we're going.
Your
I think we're
family,
going to
right?
the
Just so
mall.
everyone
Yeah,
knows, your family.
but it's that's my family, and like we're we're all in the car. But I've got the phone on CarPlay because I'm driving. So like just out of nowhere, like Chris is like, Blake, your kids better be just well behaved. And I was like, I mean, they are. I got this. Like I've been a dad now for I think at that point I was like I've been a dad for like 11 years. Like I got this. He's like, no, I really mean it. He's like, all these school shootings they ever. So I'm gonna come there. I'm just gonna beat the shit out of them. And I was like, because like Mary Lynn's on this call with me, and I think it's Rando as well. And I just kind of go silent because my kids are hearing like this guy, like maybe he's not their favorite Ranger, but they still love Power Rangers, and they're like, and I'm just kind of like, dude, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, he's like, all these kids, they got no respect. I'm just gonna come over there. I'm just gonna beat the shit out of them. I'm just like, I'm kind of looking at Brittany like, do you believe this guy?
Mm-hmm. I remember you. I got that call from you too. You're like, so Chris is threatening to beat my kids. I'm like, what? And this is
and I
after
mean,
I left. This is after I left, I think,
like
because I wasn't talking to him anymore.
It put me in a bad headspace because there's a part of me that's like, all right, he's drunk. Like I know he's just saying like stupid shit because like I understand being emotional because like we're all upset over this school shooting. And we all can feel for these victims, but at the same time, like, my kids, love you and look up to you. And, just because like, there's some kid coming in like upset at his classmates and doing this, like, just, you don't throw that correlation in there,
Right.
and threaten to beat them, like, and especially when they're in earshot, So I'm just sitting there just like it threw me into a really bad headspace. And, at that point on, I'm somewhere between I'm not going to jail for fighting anybody. So I'm not, I'm not ever threatening violence, but like, I'm somewhere between, tell them off, walk out, or let it go. And like, I'm calling you. Yeah, for sure, Deshaun, it was, man.
Yeah, that's another person who can tell you what we're saying is true. The guy we were talking about earlier, Deshaun, the one who I defended from staying with our street team because he wasn't getting paid and he had to deal with so much bullshit too. And because of all this, just a side note too, like we all started fighting each other because we're trying to keep peace, right? We're doing our best to keep peace between Christopher Khayman Lee and these fans who are working free for him, basically. And it eventually got to a like us versus him type of situation. And that's going to lead up to my departure, which I'll let you finish what your point was going to say. And then we're going to talk about that's why me and Chris eventually split.
Well, I'm actually, I mean, because like after that, that's what sends me off on like my complete split from Chris. Which leads me to everything else of what we did after that. So if you want to tell them about how you left, like we can do that, and then we'll
Right.
just circle it back.
Right. So to get back to the whole situation with Chris's booking agent and us, right? So y'all already heard the story about how, you know, Chris wanted the person in the chat, Deshaun, out of our group off the street team because he had some choice words with Chris's booking agent, who again overstepped her bounds to try to interfere with what we had already been going on with him and that Chris wanted us to do, right? So Deshaun had some choice words for her because she was in my messages, she was in Blake's messages. Because the thing is, right, when it came to me, right, I ran the page, and that and I was, according to her, not professional, even though I was. But when it came to me in particular, she was really trying to convince me so hard to just let her take the reins. And I said, no, you are a booking agent. Book him at conventions. That's what your job is, right? And she told me, and Blake can attest to this, right? He wasn't getting conventions because he had a bad reputation, and she was trying to restore his reputation so that these cons would invite him to these events, right? But I still wasn't having it because, again, we already had to deal with fighting her over the street team stuff. I wanted to make a website. I did make a website for the street team that she had sent people over. Some of y'all in the chat, part of Henry's community, might know who that person was that she sent to my website and sent to our street team to spy on us and try to infiltrate our DM groups to spy on us. Beth Ward. Now you guys in Henry's Discord know why I had issues with Beth Ward. She was the one who was sent to us by Chris's booking agent to spy on us. Okay. So Britt, is that oh, that's your little one? She ain't so little no more.
That's Miss Emma. She's 5 now.
Oh, she came on screen. She got right off. That's cute. She's adorable. Wow, she got big since you had her, man. But anyways, so yes, she had yes. You spooked
I'm still listening.
her, yeah.
I'll be right back.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead. So yeah, so Beth Ward was the one who was working with the Chris's booking agent that we were talking about. Sent to spy on us. That was some drama there. Yes, we talked about Martha too, Deshaun. Don't worry about it. And yes, tell Katie I said hi as well. But anyways, going to what happened with the departure, right? So after all that fighting that we had with Kelly, the breaking point for Chris was when Kelly and Deshaun got into it, because again, this woman was in all of our DMs. So once we got to that situation between Deshaun and Kelly, Chris told us we had to get rid of Deshaun. That Deshaun had threatened Kelly. And in fairness, did she kind of warrant that response? Yeah, she did. So I sided with Deshaun, and me and Blake tried to fight to keep Deshaun until Chris kind of gave us really no choice at that point. But I kept fighting, and Blake was still fighting, but again, we got to a breaking point. And then eventually Chris gave me the ultimatum. He said, it's either me or Deshaun. And I said, my exact words, I remember this, was, I'm like, why are you making me choose? I don't want to choose between two friends that I care about. Like, I don't want to choose between you and Deshaun. And Chris's response was, well, it looks like you made up your mind then. And that was it. He said, never contact me again. And that was it for me. And that literally broke me, because I had known Chris. It was very close to Chris. I literally met his family when we went out to, and actually Blake reminded me of that because I completely forgot. But when I went to AFO, here's me and his ex-girlfriend Shayla at this convention on this day. We also went to go meet his family because he had some family in Orlando. We went to his family's house. They fed us. They were really so sweet, lovely family. But yeah, I literally met his family, and I was very close to him, and all of the bullshit that I had put up with him, that Blake witnessed, that Deshaun witnessed, because they were all in the know, right? They were on calls with us. They were, you know, Chris would talk about his issues with me to Blake. So like they already knew how deep we were as far as me and Chris, as far as our relationship. And for him to give me an ultimatum and make me choose between two friends and me not giving him an answer and him deciding for me, it broke me. It actually broke me. Oh, I'm glad you met Shayla. But and Blake will tell you, I was a wreck. I was a wreck because I genuinely loved and cared about him. We all did. And to find out the type of person he really was, all the stuff we went through, all the stuff we tolerated, for him to just be so fucking selfish was devastating to me. He did not care about us. He did not care about the fans like Deshaun, who only was really just trying to help him and got tired of dealing with your booking agent and decided to justifiably call that bitch out, because that same bitch went on to also go after Francis. She fabricated an email making it look like Francis sent her an email Francis never sent. And me and Francis found out, like Francis even got like some people to really deep dive into this, and it turned out like they spoofed Francis's email to make it seem like Francis went after her. And that was a whole drama. And that's when Francis will have to tell you that story one day. That's a whole other can of worms. But like all of that was devastating for me. And like, I won't say traumatizing, because like it really wasn't trauma. It was just like, what the fuck? Like, why did I put up with all the shit that I did with Chris? And why did we all put up with it? Like I said, all we did was just try to help that man. We supported him, and he fucked us all over. Like Blake would not be here doing this had he not got fucked over. Deshaun would not be here in the chat had he not got fucked over. You know, and the only crime we ever really did is like we tried to help this dude, and we basically got rewarded with a big fuck you. Do what I say or kick rocks. And we won't even get into, or maybe we should get into, every female agent that he has had, with the exception of me, even though it wasn't for a lack of trying, has sex with this man. Boom, mic drop. Mic drop. If you weren't sleeping, like Blake said, if you weren't sleeping with him, paying for him, or at his beck and call, you were of no value to him.
And that's unfortunately the sad truth of it. I mean, and to kind of capitalize on, you know, when you left, I mean, that caused, like, as you said, that caused rifts between all of us. I mean, that split everybody going their own ways. It took a while to get my friendship back with Deshaun. It took
Same.
Like it took a while to I mean, like we don't really talk about it, but like our friendship took a blow because I did stay on with Chris. I did in all this time I did stay with him for that extra amount of time. You stuck by my side. You didn't abandon me.
Never.
But you know, and I hope everyone realizes it wasn't like a clout chasing kind of thing. I have no clout to chase. I was never the cameraman. I was never like the forefront guy.
None
I
of us.
literally wanted to regain what we had, and I was hoping that I could really get that back for us. I thought we had something special to give the fans, and I really enjoyed my time with my friends. Like it was, you know, being able to just sit out there and talk with you guys, make plans. It was some of the funnest times of my life, and like that was what was really heart wrenching to me, is just losing those times. I mean, and you know, include Rando in all this, because Rando had come on board with us and was helping, and you know, he's still like a brother to me to this day. And you know, to see all the stuff that he's been through, it's, you know, it hurts me to see that everything that he's been through. I mean, we could do probably a whole damn episode on just stuff that Rando has been through. and the way he's been treated.
Mhm.
But I saw losing all of that, and I was just trying to maintain it. But we never recovered after that. Now, it's, to my knowledge, it's still going. In some aspect, I don't see them post the way that we do, but to be fair, I don't follow them like I used to. I don't have any animosity towards them. Of course, like I try not to hold any animosity towards anybody.
Oh, I hold all the animosity for both of us because I hold all the listen. I hold all the animosity for at least for you because like you wouldn't have been as deep in if it wasn't for me. You know what I mean? But also like I'm glad I met you. But yeah, I would say out of everyone, Rando definitely like the worst of it because he knew Chris way longer than all of us, and he did the most for him, and he's getting screwed over till this day with his art and his credits being denied. um you know it's just sad because like you said, yeah, I heard the same thing. It's still going on, and that's the problem, is that it's still going on unchecked. No one is saying anything about it. And if anything, if he's still drinking, especially, like I said this even back then, he needs help. I know we've known that for a while. We've said it, like, you need help, you need to stop drinking, you have a drinking problem. He wasn't trying to hear it. I would call this man at like 11 o'clock his time, and he's answering the phone sounding like he has been up all night on a bender on something. And I would ask him, like, are you good? Like, are you on something? And he's just like, no, I'm just tired, or whatever his thing is. And I'm like, nah, that doesn't sound like somebody who's exhausted. That sounds like somebody who's on something, or you've been up all night drinking. And that's the reason why it's like he has a problem. And I always said this, like, the fans have been enabling it because they would watch his streams and see him literally drinking, see him slur his words, see him completely sloshed. And the fans are just enabling that because like no one's saying anything, like, dude, you have a problem. Go get help. And that always bothered me too, is that the fans were always just paying him and supporting his habit. This man, I'll tell you, all this man did, as far as I know, I don't know what he does now, but all this man really does with his time, video games and drinking and going out to eat. That's all he really does. That's his life.
Well, and you honestly, like, I hate that for him because,
of course, Deshaun, you already know. Just because we don't talk like we used to doesn't mean that love has ever been lost.
oh, I mean, for sure. I mean, and I've, thanks to my connection with you, like I was able to go on in and do more in Power Rangers. You know, once, once I made that call to you, you were already connected again with Shayla. And that's what, making that connection, that's what led me to have that, that's when you're like, she's got an opportunity for you. And I'm like, really? So that's what led me to have that friendship with Adam, Tuomanen, the Crimson Thunder Ranger, and Jorge, the Navy Thunder Ranger, and we ended up doing what ended up becoming, well, at first it was called the Thunder. I forget what we originally called it. It was something.
Oh,
Like,
the group for the Adam and stuff.
yeah, it had an original name.
I forgot what it's called too. I think that page is still up too. That page is still out there.
It is. It's that we had started like another street team for them, but what it eventually came is the Thunder Club, and so we ended up actually doing t-shirts. We ended up getting Jeffrey Rosado to come in and do, like, he had shirts, we had shirts. I wish I sent you that photo. I've got actually a picture of me and Emma with Thunder Club shirts in there. We did them up like the Bullet Club shirts, and they were really cool.
Yeah.
But that's what led us to doing that online convention with you and Man, that was so much fun. I cannot believe I forgot about that. But I did.
Yeah. What did we,
I guess I
what did
really
we
didn't
even
consider
call
that a
it though?
podcast.
Yeah, what did we
Um,
call it though? I think I might
it,
still have the graphics for it. Hold on. I might still have the graphics for it on my phone.
it was the storm before the con, wasn't it?
Yes, the storm before the con. That's what it was called.
But man, was I blessed to do that. And so many people came on for that. We
Yeah.
got one of the coolest things ever. Jim Gray from the Alien Rangers, the first interview he had done post Power Rangers, and yeah, wow, we got to do that.
I'm trying to look up pictures if we still have them, because I remember making all the graphics for it, the promotional videos.
And
That was a lot of work. I mean,
yeah,
it was fun, but would never do it again without like.
it was a lot of work, but I think about that, Ray, and what a beautiful bow to put on all of our work and everything that we've ever did, because that's all we ever wanted to do was give something back to the fans, and
Right.
we didn't charge anybody. We didn't
Yeah,
we didn't
everything we did was free. Everything, like, that's how we got the guests too. Remember how some of the guests you reached out to were like, "Yeah, I don't mind doing it as long as like you guys aren't making a single profit." We're like, "We're not making money. It's a free convention. It's virtual. People just come up into the stream, basically, kind of like this. Basically, we did a convention like this where we would have guests on, talk to them, have people in chat. It was basically like a glorified interview, you know."
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. And then we also integrated Morphin Network. We had Morphin Network do that interview with Jim Gray, because like I knew I was not qualified to do that interview.
Yeah.
But we had so many people. We had we had Adam, we had Justin Nemo, we had you
Yep,
did that
Justin.
interview.
Yeah, I did the interview with Justin. Yeah, I did the interview with Justin. Like we really, like I said, this is why we're talking about it, because like when it comes to a lot of people in chat come from Henry Resilience community, and Henry's been going really hard on the Power Ranger community and these actors. And I'm like, man, I wish we had a Henry back then, because all this stuff wouldn't be coming out like later, and we really did care so much about the fans. Don't get me wrong, some of the fans were crazy, but like most of the fans were amazing, and we really wanted to do so much, not even just with Chris. Like we had hoped, and we'll be completely honest, we had hoped that like if we did really good with Chris, we wanted to really branch that out. We wanted to like do so much for the fandom as a whole, starting with Chris. And like I said, all the drama came because it became a power control thing. Like if you were cool with a Power Ranger actor, that person usually had this big ego where they felt like, well, I'm friends with Justin Nemo, or I'm friends with Austin St. John, so like I'm the one who knows better than everybody. And that's what we were fighting, and that's what we were trying to stop, because there was a lot of toxicity in that fandom still to this day. And we really were trying to like be a place where people can come, feel comfortable, not have the bullshit drama, not have this whole thing. We weren't leaders of shit. We were just fans who cared about an actor, cared about each other, and really wanted to do good. And then again, a lot of the drama followed. We were not ready for. But yeah, it's heartbreaking talking about now. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I almost cried a few times because I'm just remembering like all the times I called Blake or Deshaun. We were on a call together, and I'm sitting there crying my eyes out because it hurt. It genuinely hurt that somebody who I cared about and was helping and supported was allowing all this bullshit to now all of a sudden take something that was meant to be fun and brought people together, and allowing a booking agent of all people to come in and ruin that and fracture everything we had built for good reason. And then when I tried to speak out on it, or other people try to speak out on it, it was just filtered. Like, who are you people? This is Christopher Khayman Lee. Y'all are nobody. He's a good person. It's like, but he's really not. He's really not a good person. I'm trying to explain. Well, it doesn't matter. he was on a TV show in the 90s and you weren't. So that's where it was, and I wanted to say, like, can we talk about Shayla? Because I feel like one person who definitely also got kind of, screwed over in a lot of ways. Like, don't get me wrong, we can also talk about, like, the stuff she was not 100%, good on, but like, let's keep it real, the Shayla stuff, because you were there for that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, well, the initial stuff with Shayla, like all of he was not with her like when I came into the picture. Like that had happened before me. All the hard feelings had already happened.
Right.
Now I can tell you my portion of it and what my exit was. Because it does involve Shayla. So I make that phone call to you. I mean, you're like, Shayla has this great opportunity. Like, I know like the storm that's about to happen because like I'm essentially, because I talked to Shayla and like, I tell her I kind of want to be a booker, an agent, not a booker, but an agent. And she's like, yeah, I think it would be great. So I'll post up all over Facebook, like, yeah, agent for, what is it, SRI, her company. And, she's going to teach me the ropes. And, she's giving me like the street team to run for Adam and everything's going to be great. And I posted up, I leave everything with Chris. And like, I don't say anything. Like I ghost him. Like I go about this the wrong way, but I'm fueling off a lot of anger from like, he just said he's going to beat my kids. Like I have a lot of like, just F you, bro. Like I'm running on emotions at this point. Like I'm like, if I go into this, like it's going to be ugly. And so instead of me, like, I don't need a lot of drama, I'm just going to walk away. So, and I mean, people are going to call me a coward. People are going to call me this, that, and that's fine. I'm going to sleep the same no matter what,
Right.
I'm no celebrity. I'm just a dad in Ohio, but so instead of dealing with the drama, I just walked away and I was like, sure, Shayla, let's do this. So we get into this. I start talking to people and they're like, you don't want to be involved in that. You don't want to be involved in that. And it kind of becomes this tug of war. Chris has already sent me like this message of like, don't message me again. Enjoy your new job with, Shayla, what a backstabber. We're done, which I fully expected it to come, and I expected it to be a lot worse if we're being honest. But,
Right.
So like, but I'm getting conflicting messages, and I think it was maybe, I don't want to say it was Nemo for sure, but I think it was Nemo I talked to, and he's like, you do not want to be involved with Shayla.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she had a better rep.
But don't take that as the gospel because I want to say it was him, but I'm not sure. So don't take that as the gospel. But
It
I know,
probably was though, because that situation with the money.
So I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. Like, but I know whoever it was somebody I respected their opinion. I know that. So I'm just like, man, what do I do? So I think I just kind of like I would still talk to Shayla, and I still talk to Shayla if she messaged me. Shayla's messaged me a few times. But she never really kind of like interacted with me much. So I just kind of let it be what it is. But we just kind of went forward with the Thunder Brothers, and like I just kind of rode off into the sunset with that. And eventually, like, you get burnout on like this fandom. It can wear on you so heavily.
That's why I'm glad even though it hurt, glad I got out when I did, because like I left the fandom after that. I was done.
I mean, luckily nothing bad ever happened to me. luckily I it just became like, once people know that you are friends with a Power Ranger, you almost get this sidebar status that people want to just like talk to you constantly, and I appreciate that, like I really do, like, but like I was like, guys, you got to understand, I'm just a nobody, I'm just a fan like you. um like, I got lucky and sent a message one night, that's all it is. And I was like, at the same time, you also got to understand, like, before I'm anything else in this world, I'm a dad. Like, like these three kids, soon to be four, like they come before anything. And like, you know, the people would end up getting mad. Like, they would end up getting like extremely like. So I won't name drop because like I don't want to embarrass anybody, but there was a guy that was messaging me like every night, and he would just do like, he would say like random like Power Ranger morphs from a different season, and he would expect me to like reply back with one. And like I entertained that forever just because I never wanted to upset a fan. Like I always wanted to be there for somebody, till eventually I was like, dude, I don't have time for this. Like, I've got my kids I'm taking care of. Emma's a baby. Like, I'm trying to do everything else. Like, he was far from the only person messaging me. And I just eventually I just couldn't. And like I would eventually start getting like angry emails. Like, and then there was one, I got a video of him going, please. And I'm like, come on, bro.
Yeah, we had some very interesting fans interaction. But yeah, when we were rocking with Chris, we would get that attention. But I wanted to go back to Shayla real quick because, like, yeah, so Blake told his version, so like his, I would say not version, but his side of the story, because yeah, he came in after the breakup. That's when I took over the page, because before it was run by Shayla. Now I'll just
Yeah,
say
you're
this.
right. Sorry about that.
No,
Again,
you're
I'm all
fine.
over the board.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Shayla was Chris's ex, and when I first met them, basically what happened was I searched up Chris on Facebook to see, where are they now type of thing. Like, where are these Power Ranger actors now? I came across Chris's Facebook page. And this was around the time he had announced his relationship with Shayla. And in the comments section, there were a bunch of women just crying about it. I'm assuming these are women that had knowing what I know now, these are probably women that Chris was probably had fooled around with. I know one of them definitely was. She was a cosplayer. And she was very upset about it because I believe, from my understanding, he didn't officially, I guess, I don't know, from his side of it, it was like they weren't together. He was just fooling around with her, but from her perspective, they were together. So finding out that he was in a relationship with somebody with the mindset of you thought you were in a relationship with somebody, I could see why now she was definitely upset about it, because at the time I was listening to Chris and believing Chris, but I'm, now what I know, it's like, no, she thought they were in a relationship. She was led on to believe that they were more than just bang buddies, and finding out that no, he has a new girlfriend. I'm assuming it was not too far apart or whatever, right? So she was upset in the comments. There was a lot of other people upset. Again, I'm assuming these are women who Chris had relationships with before. I know his previous agent he was also hooking up with. He did tell me that. And then, here comes Shayla, who, took over as his agent, got him to go back to cons, because for a while, the previous agent, it was like, she was mostly getting him help with his comic book, I believe. Don't quote me. But anyway, so Shayla was there. I was like, congratulations, so happy to see new love. And that got Shayla's attention. And Shayla was in my DMs like, thank you so much for being, supportive, because everybody else in the comment section is completely dunking on our relationship. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And that's when me and Shayla built a friendship. Then I had randomly gotten a call. She had hit me up, Shayla, and said, hey, I'm in the hospital. Can you call me real quick? And she gave me her personal phone number, and I called her. This is around the time, I don't want to go into too detail because it's private. Shayla, I don't want to say why she was in the hospital, but it was something serious. And she called me, and at first I thought it was weird because I'm like, you barely know me. Like, this is the thing about some of these actors back then. Like, they were just so eager to give you guys, give us their personal phone numbers and call us. We're just sitting here like, this is weird. I just met you and talked to you a few times on Facebook, and here I am, calling you and talking to you. And that's what I ended up talking to Chris as well. So I was friends with mostly Shayla in the beginning, because Shayla, needed a female friend. She had just moved from where she was to go move and be with Chris. So she didn't really have many, friends. So I became, her friend from a long, I was living in Florida at the time. So we were long distance friends. And then ever since that moment, I called her when she was in the hospital. We had been very, very close, me and Shayla. Then, when I met them, like I said, I keep posting up the picture, but just so you guys know, especially for people to tune in, I met them, her, that's Shayla right there. That's me with my fat ass back then at Anime Festival Orlando. Okay. I met her and Chris there. And, this is another instance of, just randomly talking to somebody you kind of just met about some private things. And again, thankfully, I'm like a decent person, right? A normal person to a degree, right? We go to the liquor store after the convention is over, because Chris wants to, continue the party. And he goes to buy, his stuff that he likes to drink, and he tells me and Shayla, go pick out something for yourselves. He was paying. And as me and Shayla are by ourselves walking around to find something for us to drink, she just randomly hits me with the whole, Chris is hitting me. And I'm sitting there like, okay, like, when, how often, like, are you being abused? Like, I don't know what to do with this information, because like, I know in a couple of days you're going back home with this man that you are now telling me physically assaults you. What am I supposed to do with that? I was like, do you need me to help you? Like, what can I do to help? And she's just like, I don't know. I'm thinking about leaving. And I said, well, you should, if he's putting his hands on you, right? But she ended up staying, and she explained in that video I showed them yesterday about when me and Shayla did the live stream talking about this. She said she stayed because she thought he would change, but he never did. And afterwards, Shayla wanted to call out Chris, but she didn't want it because she was still, there. She didn't want it to link back to her, right? So I made a Facebook page anonymously to put out all that information about him without kind of having it be linked to her. Like, I didn't say, I kind of hinted at abuse, but I didn't want to say it directly. So again, it didn't link back to her. So we did that. It got ignored. It got shut down. Because I didn't talk to Chris after a while. Like, I was all set. I think it was around the time they had just broke up, but she was still living there. But anyways, after that, Shayla kind of threw me under the bus. Eventually, after she left, and kind of told Chris that I was the one who made that page, and took absolutely no credit for that. Which kind of made me mad. And that's when me and Shayla distanced our relationship. That's when I started believing Chris more. That, because he was saying he never actually hurt her. And because she threw me under the bus, I was like, well, if she's capable of lying about that, like, maybe she's lying about everything. So I believed Chris. Later down the line, he did openly admit to me that there was one incident where he did hit her. He said that they got into a fight, and she was trying to block the door so he couldn't leave, because he was trying to leave. And he said she was in his face going, rah, 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 rah. And he said he slapped her. He said he slapped her once to get her to calm down, is what he said. And this was kind of like later on in the relationship. So when he told me that, I kind of was just shocked, but I was like, I understand women do push men's buttons. It doesn't justify getting hit. But I was kind of, I think, still on the high of like, she betrayed me. She threw me under the bus. She tried to paint me as a certain person when I only did that for her, to help her. So unfortunately, my big mistake in that was kind of just not pressing that and not seeing that red flag. But then as time went on with, Blake saying all the stuff, we experienced together with him, looking back on that, because this was before Blake. This story I'm telling you was before Blake. The looking back on it, I should have probably done the right thing and definitely distanced myself from him. But again, I was running on the high of like, this is somebody who hurt me. They threw me under the bus. They didn't care. They didn't take any responsibility. So that's kind of what it is. Like, he admitted that that was true. So now again, looking back on everything and how he is, I'm thinking like maybe, it wasn't just that one slap. It wasn't just that one instance that he admitted to. It was probably a lot more that he didn't want to admit to. So that's kind of the thing I want to say about Shayla, because I know Shayla has a reputation in the community, especially a lot of actors don't really care for Shayla for their reasons. I'm not going to take that from you. But what did happen with her and Chris, it was a very toxic relationship. And it, we can sit here and argue who was responsible, but I think that, looking at how he's treated other people, I think it's safe to say that he was probably a lot more of the problem in that situation. Could Shayla have handled that relationship better? 100%. But I think it was more Chris who was the aggressor, because he is, when she says verbally abusive, I believe that, because he is like that with everybody. Anyone who crosses him, he will say whatever he needs to say to hurt you. And it's just sad. It's just really sad.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. And I mean, there was never any like boundaries. I mean, any, he would talk about, banging people's wives. I mean, there was nothing was
Right.
nothing was feared, nothing was sacred. And, it was just something you would put up with. And unfortunately, we let it go on for too long and hoping it would get better, and it never would. And I think we just all leaned on each other to kind of get through it. And I guess we probably should have left a long time ago, but we false hope is all I can say. It's just
Right.
we all had false hope, and
Yeah.
more so I think we wanted to be there for the fans, and we really wanted to make that world work.
Yeah, that's I guess mainly, yeah, that's true. Like, we really did want to be there for the fans more than anything at that point. It was more about the fans and Chris, to be honest with you, at the end of it all. Because it is just what it is. But back to the whole thing when you say, banging people's wives, right? When I got control of Chris's fan page, the messages, man, that he had in there with some of these fans were wild. And I mean, like,
I don't think you've ever shared any of those with me.
no, I never shared them. Because first of all, like, consenting adults, it's one, like, what I'm saying? But like, my thing too is like, he's having these sexual conversations with women in these DMs on his fan page. And I would tell him, Chris, if you're trying to like hook up with broads or something, like, don't, first of all, I never encouraged him to hook up with his fans. I actually told him the opposite. He would do it anyways. But it was more like, don't have these conversations on a fan page where other people have access to them, because I was not the first person or the last person who has access to his fan page. So I said, if you want to talk to these girls, like, direct them to your personal page. I'm not sitting here trying to answer messages of girls talking about like doing stuff to you. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, tell them to go to your personal page or something. And I'm sitting there like he did not think at all. Like, he does not care, I think. But that's that's who he was. Like, he was always talking to these chicks. And I'm sitting there like, dude, why are you doing this on your fan page? I can see every message you have. They don't disappear. When I get access to your account, I'm getting access to all the messages. They stay there. I had to go through and delete a bunch of them, and to protect him from this stuff, because like I'm dead ass. Like, I'm sitting here like, I don't, if anything goes wrong, bro, like, you handle that. I don't want to be a witness or an associate of you like having these relationships with girls, and these girls, doing anything to you or trying to meet to you or something. I didn't want to know. Like, and more importantly, I didn't want to see those crusty ass conversations. Because they were crusty, y'all. They were crusty.
Crusty is a word for sure. That is wow. But it just, and even not to I guess put any shadow on like the women aspect of it. But that comment, it's like a JG Wentworth commercial.
No
But
pictures. No pictures. Thank God. Thank God, no pictures.
but
No.
like I had friends that would message me that were just members of the street team, and they're like, yeah, I went up to Chris at at the convention, and he would say, I won't name drop because I don't think they want me to, but they would talk about, yeah, I told Chris that I was in the street team, and like there was like, oh cool, and it was just nothing. I was like, man.
Yep, that
God.
happened a lot. Like the part of the street team, right, is like we were gonna offer like, because like I think at one point we were gonna offer like a paid membership thing, but we deaded that because like I said, we really didn't want to charge anybody. But like we basically, like, one of the perks of the street team is like, if you're part of the street team, like, Chris was gonna like do certain things that he never did. Like all we asked him in the beginning is like, can you just do a live stream on the street team page for the fans? Why can't you do that?
Well,
He
see,
was doing it on his main page. Why not do that on the street team page? He never wanted to do that. He wanted to charge everybody for everything he did.
Well, see, I had thought there was at least a like a free autograph involved, if I remember correctly.
Right. That was, yes,
because
we did the free autographs.
because it was, in my mind, I'm like, okay, you're rolling out like 10 cents a print and then some squiggly lines for your name. Like, these people are, we're not, I mean, the street team was not just a fan page. Like, you have a fan page, but the street team was a secluded number of members. I think we had like one for each state, and they were the ones that were supposed to be contacting local conventions trying to request you to get into this. Like, it was not without its purpose. So, like, for their time and their, for their purpose, their cause, their efforts, an autograph was not too much to ask. And, they're coming back to me like I didn't get anything. And they're like, I didn't even get a thank you, fuck you, bye, nothing. Like, I'm just like, I'm sorry.
Right.
And
Yeah. Yeah, and like that's another thing too, just to add on to that. Like, it wasn't, because I know people's counter would be like, well, would you expect them, like, what if you guys had 1,000 members of your street team? No, we did not have that many people. Like, we had applications that people had to fill out, and we would select them to be part of the street team. It's not like we let everybody in. It wasn't like a fan page. It was like an exclusive group of people that we would select to do all this stuff. And all they asked is for, like, and I won't even say all they asked. They didn't even ask for anything. They probably they were basically doing it for free anyways, because they were not getting any perks. Like, there was no benefit for being part of the street team because Chris just wouldn't do it. And that, like, I remember that call we had because Blake actually hit me up and it's like, hey, so like I had one of the members of the street team say, they saw Chris at a convention, like he just, and Blake was actually pissed. Blake was pissed about that. And Blake don't get mad often. So when Blake is mad, it's a big deal. So I was like, what the hell? And then again, we would talk to Chris and he just, oh, I didn't know. I was, I was busy. There's so much going on. He'd have an excuse. It's like, bro, we literally talked about this. Like, when I tell you, me and Blake especially, we're always talking to Chris on a daily basis for like a year straight. I mean, every single day I was talking to Blake, I was talking to Chris all day, every day for a year. Okay? We spent an entire year of our lives. Blake had 2 little kids at the time, a third on the way, and he found time to do all this. And we never even asked anything from Chris. Chris told me when I ran his page, he's like, why don't you make your own page for yourself and you could use my page to promote yourself? I said, no, I'm not here for this. I'm not like when people call me a clout chaser on YouTube, this is how much of a clout chaser I'm not. I had an opportunity to actually and permission to clout chase somebody who at the time had like 10,000 followers on Facebook. I had an opportunity to boost myself and promote myself, and I declined it because I wasn't there for myself. I was there for the fans. I was there for Chris. Same with Blake. Blake never wanted to do this for himself. He was doing it because he was a fan. He was already part of Street Team. He liked what they were doing over there, and he wanted to like do something like that for the fans. So it's just sad that we even have to talk about this because we've always see Chris now. Like people from our days will like hit us up or he'll come across our pages and we have to see Chris unchecked. Like this is a guy that is literally taking advantage of the fans, in my opinion. Because you remember how he used to talk about the fans, Blake? Like the things he would say about the fans.
I mean, absolutely. And just to really quickly capitalize on that, I mean, I need people to understand too that it wasn't just us going to Chris and saying, hey, you need to pay for all this. This was coming out of our pockets. Like we were, Rando was doing the artwork out of, using his time and his creativity to come up with the artwork. Me and my family, we have, like I said, like I've repeated this 100 times if I've said it once, we have kids. I work a 9 to 5 just like everybody else. But we went out and, we were, buying Cricut machines and printers and, trying to find different inks and different t-shirts that would work, trying to make this, the most cost effective way possible, not for Chris, but for us, for Ray, myself, that way we could, get these things, trying to find different shipping methods to get these out to the, the members. That way we did not, disappoint them. It was not coming out of Chris's pocket. The only thing we really asked out of Chris is his participation, just to go live, interact with the fans, fulfill your part of this.
Even comment in the Street Team page, like just to leave a comment. That's all he could have done. Like, and he never did it. Like the live streams was one thing, but he would barely even be active in a page made to help him. That's the thing for me. Sorry, it's just that pissed me off that he couldn't even be bothered to comment and thank any of those fans who are part of that Street Team.
Well, and I can remember an instance he was on. What is that little? They almost run it like it's a Power Rangers series. But it was like a tabletop game. It was like Power Rangers. They had Paul Scheer on there, Bulk. He was the Yellow Ranger, the bulky Yellow Ranger, Hyperforce. Yes. Thank you, whoever DDH won me. Thank you. Yeah, Hyperforce. But he was on there doing an episode. So like we hype it up on the page, and so we go in and we've got I've got the Street Team on there. This is after you, Ray, and I've got Mary Lynn on there, and we're just we're trying our best to hype this episode, to get them views, to get him some attention. And so we've got quite a few members in there, and we've got people in his his fan page on there, and we've went and posted it in other places. And we at one point I mentioned Hanzo, which was his cat, and that gets his attention. He's like, Hanzo, what? Oh, he's like, oh yeah, that's Blake and Maryland. Yeah, they work for me. And not that we're looking for some big fanfare, but it just seems so side jaw, like, oh, they work for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go fuck myself then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty much. Pretty-
let's just disregard all the 4 days that we put into hyping this up for you, and then the 2 weeks
He's
of
so
promotion that we did.
ungrateful. Right,
But
so ungrateful, man. Like it's you don't do stuff because you expect something in return, but like a little bit of gratitude would be fucking nice, man. Like this man was not grateful for shit. For shit. He
oh,
wasn't grateful to his fans. I don't know if you remember. No, this was before you, but I remember that he went to a convention and there was a fan who had disabilities, like mental disabilities. And it was obvious the person had mental disabilities because Chris pretty much said it. Like he's like, this fan, he was a little much. And he would basically be like, oh yeah, like I can't stand fans like that. They're absolutely obnoxious. I'm like, dude, they have mental disabilities. You need to have patience with them. He also made fun of you remember I don't want to say his name because again I don't want to drag too many people into it, but you remember the person who named their kid after Andros?
I know exactly who you're talking
Yes.
about. I don't
Yeah.
think I don't know if he would want me to name drop him, but I know because I've talked to him within the last year. Yeah.
Yeah, so that person who named their child Andros, Chris talked so much about you have to be stupid to name your kid Andros. Why would you like instead of being flattered, right? Or at least humble about
Oh
it,
my
right?
oh
Oh,
my god, he
he
ran this guy into the
oh
ground.
he
Oh
just
my
yeah,
god.
he's like you have to be he literally called him a bad parent for naming his kid after his character on Power Rangers.
I did not have the heart to tell him that either. Like I couldn't. He
I
was like,
couldn't
"Yeah, yeah,
either.
yeah." Because when he told him about it in person, I guess Chris was like, "Yeah, that's great, that's awesome, man, thank you." And then like went behind his back and was like telling us all that stuff. And then
Yeah.
and then the guy messages me. He's talking to me. He's like, "Yeah, I think it's great." He's like, "If I have a daughter, I'm going to name her Astronomer." And I'm just like, "Dear God, please no, please
Yeah.
don't."
Yeah. This guy named his kid Andros, obviously after Chris' character. And he was so like, he told Chris about it. And the first time he told Chris about it, that was his reaction. Like he was like, oh yeah, that's cool, dude. Behind the scenes, he's like, oh, that guy's a weirdo. Like, and I'm just like, why? Oh, like, why would you name your kid Andros? It's such a stupid name. That kid's gonna grow up and get bullied. And I'm just like, dude, like, what? I was like, why does it like who cares? I think Andros is a fine name for a kid. Like, it's his kid. He wanted to, he's such a big fan of you. He named his kid after your character, and your whole thing is to like tear him down for that. It was like absolute. That's what I'm saying. Like that was true. Like it's crazy how
More than
disgusted he was about with a lot of his fans. Like his fans would like be super excited to see him, and I would like say somebody got a tattoo of his name. He'd be like, "Oh, that's cool." And he's like, "That's a fucking stupid tattoo. You waste your money." That's what he really thinks about the fans.
Well, I mean, and to end that too, like, as far as the like naming your kid Andros, like that kid's gonna be fine because that name is so unique and like he's gonna be fine. And I if the father of that kid listens to this podcast, like you have my full support. And I you're
Right.
still my boy. So
Right.
um but going back to all that, I really don't think Chris liked being a Power Ranger. I
No, he
really
didn't.
just think at this point he just likes the money that comes from it, the byproduct that comes from it. Now, we have not touched this subject yet, but I do think he likes the money and the attention he's getting from the bloodline of the grid.
Oh, did you know he stole some of my story for that? I found that out randomly like a year or two ago. Yeah. Let's talk about Bloodline of the Grid, shall we?
Do you know he stole the name, the art idea, the majority of that?
Yeah. I know. I know. Yeah. Yeah, that did happen too.
Like the
So
Red Raiders, I mean, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty of it, came from Texas Tech because that was what I pitched to you.
yep, exactly.
um,
By the way, we'll talk about that. If you guys have questions, I'm saving your questions and we'll talk about it before we go because we have been streaming for 2 hours. I don't know how much time Blake has. But I'm saving the questions. So if you guys have questions, just put them in the chat and I'll save them. We'll get to them towards the end before Blake dips out.
let's see, that all of that art
that is randos. And if anybody has a problem with that, feel free to come talk to me about it, because I could show you screenshots from 2017 that
Mm-hmm.
were from Rando where he drew all of that. The fact that it has been a struggle to get that man credit is a disgrace. And if you're the one fighting him on it, well, I hope you have the day you deserve. But every bit of that is wrong. And like I don't need my glory and my thunder. I don't the Red Raider name, it was a rip off from beginning. Like I don't need any kind of glory for that. But the fact that you have input on that story, and my brother and Rando, that is 100% his creation. Nah, like you're hurting my friends now. And I'm looking right in the camera and I'm telling you, you guys need to give these people credit. And if you're getting any kind of compensation for it, you need to pay these people.
Yep. Especially for those t-shirts. You know, the ones that were supposed to be free for the street team we made that you're now putting on t-shirts and selling as merchandise. Those ones. The artwork that was made by Rando for the street team. Anyways.
And while we're at it, I know there's a certain group that wanted to come and rough up Rando's table and wanted to come get a little violent with my friend at Power Morphicon. You wanna talk about it? You know, I'm not a hard guy to find.
Right, he came on with his actual government. Yeah, that happened too. Yeah. So about the bloodlines, let's get to that, right? So I have friends who are fans of Power Rangers, you know, that I met through my YouTube journeys, right? A friend of mine named Cider. And me and him were talking about Power Rangers. He's like, hey, you told me about how you knew Christopher Khayman Lee, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, well, did you see the Bloodlines thing? And I was like, what do you mean the Bloodlines thing? He's like, oh yeah, I think I saw that. Somebody had showed it to me and stuff. And he was telling me this. I was like, yeah, when I was friends with Chris, I was talking about like a story, a fan thing I wanted to do for Power Rangers. I told him my story, and he's like, that's interesting. That sounds a little similar to one of the characters in Bloodlines. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? I was like, I'm sorry, what? He's like, yeah, there's a character in Bloodlines that's exactly like that. And I was like, this motherfucker. Because I remember talking to Chris about that same story that I had written. And Chris had told me he had written something similar, but when he told me his story, it wasn't that similar. So Chris took one of my characters from my story and used it for Bloodlines. Now, unfortunately, I don't have physical proof because unfortunately that story I wrote is lost. It stays up here. So I don't have physical evidence of it. But yeah, when I found that out, I was just like, of course, why am I not surprised? He stole from Rando. So I'm not surprised that any of that's original. I'm not gonna fight that. Like I said, if they want to say, that's a lie, I'm gonna let them have it because again, I don't have physical evidence that my story was ripped off because again, it was on an old laptop, the one I actually bought to help Chris because I needed a computer to help him work effectively on the fan page because I was doing everything on my mobile phone. And I had a shitty mobile phone at the time. It's an Android, a shitty, cheap Android. Anyways, so yeah, I'm not gonna fight them on that, but I'm just putting that out there because like that is my experience, my story to tell. But yeah, especially with Rando, yeah, there is evidence of thievery. We got thievery out here, there is evidence of thievery, and there was that incident that I remember being told about, them having some altercation at a convention where they did do damage to the table he was at and threatened some confrontation because Rando, all he asked for was credit for his work, not even compensation, credit, like wants the name attached to it because it is his design, his work, and they said no. And then eventually they put like a small credit on there, but it took him a long time to even do that. But like, he's not getting shit for all the work he put in. And I am saving all the questions, so keep them coming, guys. I am saving all the questions that I can. But yeah, so I
And
mean,
I want to apologize. Like, I don't usually like to get that aggressive, but that is the like, I don't harbor any like bad feelings or anger. Like I said, I let a lot of things go, but that is the one thing that has sit in my stomach for so long. Because like, Ray, me and you both know, we've talked to Rando. He's been in and out of the hospital. I worry about him constantly. Um, I've unfortunately, I stay too busy. I haven't done as good a job of keeping up with him as I should have. But he's still like a brother to me. Still love him, and you know, for to want to cause physical harm, to not give him the credit that he deserves, because he's such a talented human being and such a creative genius. It sickens me. After all Rando did, I mean, moving in, taking care of his, helping taking care of Chris's mom, after all Rando has done, and for all of that, it's sickening. I mean, it causes like just this fire in my stomach. So I apologize. Like, I got a lot of love and forgiveness in my heart, but when it comes to that, no. Like, you
yeah,
guys want to hurt him, come find me. I'm
right.
38 years old, and like, I'll lay it on the line. You'll probably beat the hell out of me, but
No,
you'll know I was there.
the craziest part is like, out of everyone, Randall was the most shocking betrayal. Like, Randall was, again, somebody who's known Chris before we all did, and he was the last man standing in the core group of us. He was the last one standing, and when I had heard what happened to him, I was shocked, but not shocked, but mostly shocked, because he was the closest to Chris. And like, I'm talking like they were like stuck to the hip. Like, Rando met Chris in person. Like, he wasn't just somebody he was friends with online. Like, that was somebody he was very close to. They helped each other out, and yeah, eventually he moved in. And I'll see, maybe one day, if Rando's feeling up to it, if he wants to talk and use his platform to speak on everything, because yeah, he has seen a lot more of that side and experienced it way deeper than we have ever seen. And what we're telling you is a lot, so you can only imagine how deep of a rabbit hole it goes with Rando. But yeah, no, I mean, I think we covered most of the bases, unless we're forgetting something, for the most part, just about how shitty Christopher Khayman Lee is to people. Do
I got to admit, I didn't think I was going to go that deep into anything, but here we are. But
I mean, we've been
oh,
through it, man. We went through it. We went through it.
we did, and it feels good to get a lot of these stories out there. I to this day, I don't you would think that I harbor a lot of bad feelings. I actually, about a year ago, um I've been on this journey of trying to find, a lot of meaning in life, and trying to do better about a lot of things. I want to teach my kids not to hold on to a lot of hate, because that can drag you down mentally. It can really affect you in a lot of ways, physically, like I said, especially mentally. But I reached out to him. I reached out to Oliver. So I'm like, look, I don't want to be back on the street team. I'm not a fan, but if you want to bury this hatchet, I'm willing to, to bury it, because I don't want to be carrying around any bad karma. I don't want to be carrying around any kind of negativity with me. So if you want to talk about this, hit me back up. And I never heard anything. So, I've got to lay down at night knowing, I did all I could for that guy.
Mhm.
And I even tried to make amends for something that, honestly, I had every justified reason for leaving. I mean, saying you're going to beat my kids while they're in earshot, saying you're going to do it, period, but even doing it while they're in earshot, You know, exposing them to what a hero truly is off camera, even before, you know, they're old enough to even realize that, it really sucks.
Right. No, it does. It definitely sucks. It sucks. We went through hell with that dude. To answer this, I doubt he would respond, and if he did, I can already predict what it's gonna be. It's basically gonna say that we're all full of shit. And that's what it's gonna be. It's basically gonna be him denying everything we say, or twisting some things, you know, because like last thing he wants is for anyone to think that he's anything but perfect, right? Even though he drinks on live streams and stuff, and you know acts the way he does, he can't have he don't want us messing with his money, you know. And I see Primal say, I wish y'all did this sooner. I wish y'all had spoken up about this craziness sooner. I did. I spoke out about it as soon as I was gone, right? As soon as I was gone, I immediately tried to tell my side of the story, and it just filtered. Chris was too much of a power force. Like nobody wanted to hear it from me. No one wanted their illusions of how awesome Christopher Khayman Lee was shattered. So when I came forward, no one listened. There are still people I talk to this day who unfortunately still talk to him. And I just have to deal with that and say, you know what, in time, y'all will figure it out on your own, like everybody else has. But I did try to speak out and say all these things I'm saying now back then. I showed the video yesterday of me and Shayla in 2016, or I think it was 2018 or 2016, doing a live stream calling him out about this. And a few people listened, but no one really cared, you know. So that's just what it is. So we have questions. Shay has been popping questions there. So if you guys have questions, we want to get some. You want to get to some questions, or do you have any more stories?
Well, I just wanted to say, and it's the unfortunate thing, Ray, that you were the odd one out, the odd female out, if you don't mind me saying that, that you were the one that did not have the relationship, the physical relationship with him. But unfortunately, you were another female with an accusation against Chris. So I think, unfortunately, you speaking out becomes just another voice in the static, if you get what I'm saying. Like I think it took somebody else within that organization to go, okay, she's right. And that's unfortunately, and that falls on me. Like I did not have your back, and we've talked about this. I did not have your back for a long time, and you did not give the respect and the credit you deserve because Chris has treated women so shitty before, just like Shayla. Like it's like people brushed it off because it was like they felt it was just another scorned woman like Shayla, if you get what I'm saying. So for your message to be heard, unfortunately, I think you needed that support, which we didn't give you, and I'm sorry about that.
I mean, honestly, I appreciate it, but like we talked about it, like I understand the position that everyone was in with that. Like I said, I could have handled situations better 100%, but I like, especially my audience knows me. I've always been that person. I just can't sit there and let bullshit happen unchecked. I have to speak, and that's my problem, is that it does cause more harm than good sometimes, but I've always been that person to speak out. I've always been that protector type. Like, so if I see people getting treated poorly, I'm going to jump in and be Captain Save-A-Ho, basically, you know, like I want to save people and protect them. And unfortunately, that was, you know, I was trying to protect somebody and help somebody who did not deserve any of that because he would not give that same level of respect or kindness to you. And that's where, you know, I appreciate the apology, but like, I don't feel like I need one from you guys because you all were there. You all, you know, experienced it yourselves. And I don't blame y'all for staying on with him. You know, some people have to learn the hard ways because, again, to you, you guys were put in the middle because you also cared about Chris and you cared about me. And you were also put in the same situation I was in when it came to Deshaun, is that, who are you gonna pick, right? And you didn't pick a side really, because like I never stopped talking to you. Like if you messaged me and talked to me, I was always responding. I didn't have any animosity towards you or anything like that. So like I didn't want you to be put in the situation I was, where he would have made the choice for you. So I appreciate again the apology, but it's not needed. We're still here. We've still been friends. We still talk here and there. So no love lost, and you're doing, me, I guess, justice now by coming on and speaking with me about this. So like all is forgiven.
Well, I appreciate that. But just to put like a little capital point on that, if you think about it, think about all of the women that came and gone during our time. I mean, Shayla.
There was one before that too. I forgot her name.
Pause. Should we do this?
I mean, hey, if you want to talk about it, listen, we already opened up the can of worms. We might as well just say, because there was one before Shayla. I forgot her name. She's an older woman too, which I was shocked about. So there was that woman who was one of his agents.
It was it Sandra?
I don't remember her name, but there was her. Then there was Shayla. Then there was me. Then there was Alyssa. And then there was, I think, the current one he's with now.
Alyssa got done dirty though.
I'm not gonna lie, I was mad about that, because like, me and Alyssa were cool, and then when me and Chris had our falling out, now all of a sudden she's Chris's agent and then some. So I'm gonna just sip my drink on that one.
I got you. No, I got you, but I it's different because I was there for that. And
if you want to tell that story, you can tell that story.
Out of respect for her, I'm not going to, because I don't know how much she wants me to divulge. And it was personal, and it did get bad.
Of course, because it's Chris. Of course, I'm not surprised. I mean, when I found that out, I was like, "Oh, girl, buckle up."
But I mean, it's one of those, like, we haven't talked in a while, and I don't know how much she would want me to say. So,
well, if she ever
I mean,
wants to
if
talk,
you want to,
if she ever wants to talk, you can have her reach out to me. Because, like I said, I mean, again, I have that picture you sent me, and Alyssa's the one next to Chris on the left.
That is correct. But like, out of respect for her, I'm not gonna tell that story. I'm just gonna say it ended badly. So,
I remember.
and she got hurt. So
yeah, she did. I remember.
But if you want to go through some questions really quick, I got a little bit more time. Tonight is my night off. I got to go back to work tomorrow. So if you want to hit some questions, I'd love to stay on with you for a little bit more.
Yeah, let's do those questions. So we got this question earlier. Out of curiosity, was his drinking the first red flag you guys noticed?
If you don't mind, I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
For me, no. For me, it was the language. Because it was very loose with the N-word, feeling like it was like he had the pass and used it.
I forgot about that, actually. I forgot he used to do the N-word drop. I forgot. How did I forget that? I forgot.
Yeah, like,
oh shit, I forgot about that. That's true. He did say that.
Just like the frequent use of the N-word, just like, because that's when you first come on and you're talking to one of your heroes, like, it just casually, like, everyday life, you're expecting, I guess you expect what you see on TV, and that's not at all what I got. So like, that's already red flag number one. And then and he got offended one time when I said this, because like, it had really become, it's just Chris. Like I let him know that like his star status was lost on me at that point. Like, he was no longer like a celebrity, he was just Chris, and I think that offended him.
Yeah.
I was like he, yeah, I mean, the
I
the
forgot
words
about
he
the
would
N-word.
use, yeah, like that was my first red flag. So just to answer that really quick.
Yeah. To answer the question, was the drinking the first flag? For me, no, because I didn't know how bad it was in the beginning. You know, in the beginning, I thought he just liked to drink here and there. Like, who doesn't like to have a drink here and there? So I didn't realize how bad it was. I think it was until the Jason David Frank stream where he was shit faced and talking shit about Jason on a live stream like that when I was like, all right, maybe it's a problem. And then of course, you know, getting calls, you know, calling him the morning to discuss business and him answering it sounded like he was completely like still wasted or whatever. I did start to realize that he had a problem, but it wasn't like in the beginning it wasn't a problem. I didn't think nothing of it. So there's that.
No, and like the weird thing about him using the N-word is it wasn't like he was using it as a like he wasn't like thinking of it as a derogatory term. It was
No,
literally
he said it
just
like we say it. He said it like we
like
say it.
he thought he was just king of the mountain and like he could just like say it, like he was just entitled to say it, like he was just raised, like that's the way he, remember, that's the way he would justify it, like he was raised in that atmosphere and raised with the brothers, like he would say. And like I'm like, I still don't think that's how that works, bro. But I was like, I'm still not the one that gets to say that. So like
Right.
I was
Yeah.
like,
No. So like someone gave it a pass. I mean, I forgot he did that. To be honest with you, but like I've spoken on my thoughts about that word. So I mean, I think for me, I kind of I that's why I didn't even remember because I was like, I didn't think much of it because like for me, I personally don't care. You know, you know, if you grew up in a hood as a Caucasian person or a non-black person, you know, that's just what they do. Especially where I'm from, that's just what they do in a lot of places. So I don't think when he did that, I just didn't bother me personally. But yeah. So the next question: does he still get acting jobs? No, not paid acting jobs like that. He does a YouTube channel, the Bloodlines series, but no, he does not get. He doesn't do acting anymore.
yeah, the last thing that I have seen him do was that Bloodline series, and that like sadly enough, I'm angry about it because they didn't give my friend credit for. So
Right. Here's another one. Was there a time when when you knew him when he wasn't a shithead, when he was a generally decent human being? Honest question. Yeah, obviously in the beginning. Like in the beginning, we all thought that. I mean, that's why we put up with the shit we did because, you know, we were his friends. We thought we were his friends. So, yeah, in the beginning he wasn't a shithead obviously, but like there were like, you know, mask off moments like we discussed where, you know, and at that time we were deep in it, you know, like we were already connected to him on a personal level. So, we didn't really see how bad it was until kind of like it was too late for us and we, you know, got the treatment, you know. But yeah, he was generally not a shithead in the beginning, obviously.
well, there was several times that like he would break down and he would be human, and those were really really great times. Like he when he would talk to us, with the times when he would have our back, when Kelly would be on us, like those are some really great moments. Like I said, I mean, like there's only so much drama and chaos a person can take. We wouldn't have stuck around forever if there weren't good moments. So I mean,
Right.
absolutely there was good stuff going on there. Like we're not here to preach it was all doom and gloom. It wasn't. But
We did
the
go through hell though. We did go through hell. Like
we did. I don't want to take away from that, but at the same time, um he would like, that was the problem, is like we would get like, it would almost recharge us. If you remember, like we would have these great nights when it would be like he had our back, and like all of our ideas were just like, or like just these incredible ideas that he loved, and like we're like, okay, awesome, he's got our backs, this is amazing. And like I was like, we're finally here, we've got this. And then it seems like he would like talk to one other person, and it was just like it never happened, and it was just like, man.
Right. That answers this question as well. Right. Exactly. Which Ranger actors did he dislike the most?
JDF.
Jason David. Yep, Jason David Frank. Jason David Frank.
Which that ended up hurting me a lot because I'm 38 years old. Well, I'm almost 38. I'm 37. I was born in 87. I watched the OG series. Jason David Frank was my hero. Like I wish I had the picture to throw up on the screen. Like I've got like the little original like Green Ranger toy. Like I worship that guy. And then to hear the guy that I'm working for is just tearing him down, like that killed me inside, man. Like um and then then for him to be like, because now it's like a us versus them kind of situation. I'm in the throes of it, and I'm like, man, my childhood hero, come on, bro. So like that really, really sucked.
Yeah. Yep. Has he ever given an apology for any of his bad behaviors?
Not to me.
No, not to
Like
me.
I'm still blocked everywhere.
Yeah, he will never apologize. Like I said, when somebody asked earlier, or somebody said earlier, do you think he'll respond to this? No, he absolutely won't respond to this. If he was smart, but he's not. So if he does respond, he's just going to deny everything. He's going to say that we are bitter ex workers of him, like he says about everybody. That's just what he does. He will never take accountability for his actions. He will never accept that he's hurt people, genuinely hurt people. He's just objectively a piece of shit for that. So no, he will never apologize. He will never acknowledge anything we're saying. He will never take responsibility for a damn thing. I would be shocked as fuck if he did, but I heavily doubt he will ever give Blake an apology. Especially, he would never give me an apology 100%, because like fuck that, he will never do that. He'll never give Randall an apology.
I don't need an apology, first of all. What I want is, I would love for him to just, we don't even have to do it publicly. After all of this, like I think it should be publicly. I think it would be very therapeutic in a way. But just come on, let's clear the air. Good, the bad, the ugly. Come on.
I don't know who this is, but yes, spot on.
Few and far between. They were. I mean, but we were. It was bigger than Chris. Honestly,
it was.
It was more than, it was bigger than myself and Ray. It was about the fans, and it was bigger than the power. Well, I won't say it was bigger than the Power Ranger brand, because that's what brought us all together. But we were literally trying to build a community that was safe, fun, that people just felt like they could come and just be themselves. And I really felt like we accomplished that, because like I said, they were sending us messages. They were telling, I feel like we were part-time therapists, because anybody going through anything that was, they would reach out to us, and I was okay with that to a degree, because that means like people were comfortable with us and they believed in us, and that was awesome.
Right. Yeah. We get messages all the time from fans who are like thanking us, and we take time and talk to everybody. And there were people who had like some serious problems, or like being part of this has helped me get through this, or forget about it. And it was really like heartfelt, and that's why, again, it was another reason why like it was so heartbreaking how it ended, because like we actually were reaching out to fans and giving them a safe space, and people who actually could relate to them and talk to them. Even though that's not what Chris wanted. Chris wanted money. We wanted it to be for the fans. We wanted to be part of something bigger, which was more fan orientated. And again, these actors, a lot of them, it's just about money, but this is a question. I don't see any more questions coming in. Guys, we got a few minutes before Blake's got to dip. So if you have any questions, ask him now. But this question here, do you think Chris changed his way, is changing his ways? I'll let you take that one first.
Well, I had a friend out in California that messaged me about a year and a half ago and said that he had, which is what honestly prompted me to send that text. I mean, because if Chris had genuinely changed his ways and stopped drinking, which is what I had heard, you know, I'm a guy of second chances, and you know, like I'm all about forgiveness and moving on. And you know, if that was the case, yeah, I'm more than willing. But I think anybody is capable of changing their ways. They just have to want to. Um, so honestly, um, I haven't heard enough recent news to say that he's changed or will change. Um, you know, from what I've got from the guy that talked to me, it was great until it wasn't. So I don't know. I'm gonna leave it with I hope so.
Yeah, my answer is, you know how it's once a ranger, always a ranger. Well, in regards to Christopher Khayman Lee, once an asshole, always an asshole. So no, I don't think he's ever going to change because no one has the balls besides, you know, us to call him out on his shit, make him realize that he again has hurt numerous people, has taken advantage of numerous people, has taken our kindness for weakness, used us, abused us, and chewed us out, spit us out like gum, basically. So yeah, always once an asshole, always an asshole. And for me, I'm with Blake. I don't want an apology, not for the same reason as Blake, is because his apology would be it would mean nothing. It would mean nothing. His apology coming now wouldn't be because it's the right thing to do. It's because he'd want me to shut my mouth and not talk about it anymore. His apology would mean nothing to me. I would take his apology, go to the bathroom, and wipe my ass with it because that's how disgusted I am with not just what he's done to me. I can handle what he's done to me. I've been handled what Christopher Khayman Lee did to me, how he treated me. What I can't handle and will not forgive is how he treated Blake, how he treated Rando, how he treated everyone who did nothing wrong to him, who slighted him not, and just wanted to help him and care about him. And he spit in everyone's face. So, no, he'll never change. I would be again shocked if he did. He needs to start by putting the bottle down permanently. He needs to start with treating people like people instead of just what they can do for him. And he definitely, if anyone is owed an apology, it is Blake. It is Rando. It is so many people. Because even though we're telling you the horror stories we had with him, Blake especially, he's the most likely willing to forgive and move forward. So you definitely at least owe Blake an apology for sure. Oh, Francis in the chat. Hi, Francis. Hi, Francis. Hey, Francis. She's in the chat. Blake, Francis in the chat. Yes, I'm on camera. I had to be on camera. Blake wanted to be on camera, so I'm on camera.
I didn't know I held that power. That's pretty awesome. Hi, Francis.
Yeah.
But you know, I think if you've listened to us in the last 2.5 hours, the beautiful thing in all of this is, and the wild thing is, I almost believe Rando would say the same thing. Like we're all hurt for each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
mm-hmm.
like you want apologies from me and Rando. I want apologies for you and Rando. Rando would probably say the same about me and you. And like that's probably one of the coolest jeez.
English, do you speak it?
Not lately. But but it's one of the coolest things about this whole experience. You know, and you know, we all believe that the Shy needs an apology, and we all, I mean, we've all looked out for each other, and that was the core of everything, and we all believe the fans need an apology. And the, in the end, I feel like maybe we didn't accomplish the goal and what we set out for, and how we envisioned, but in some way we accomplished a lot because we brought a lot of people together. And there's a lot of beautiful things there in that friendship. And so maybe it didn't turn out the way we wanted it to and the longevity that we wanted it to, but we accomplished a lot, and so we can hang our heads high for that.
Yeah, honestly. You know, it's funny too, before you get going. I had commented on one of Chris's pages on his page not too long ago. I think I told you about this when they were talked about an appearance or something, and I left a comment that said, you need to give Randall credit. You need to give somebody credit, or he made a snide comment about him not giving credit to somebody. And one of the actors from Bloodlines commented, it was just like, oh, and I'm like, yeah. I guarantee I'm surprised that comment was there for a while. I think they deleted it and probably blocked me from the page, but I was kind of just laughing because I'm just like, yeah, like I don't forget. I don't forget when it comes to certain things like that. But yeah, that's really crazy. But no, thank you, Blake. I know you that been here for like 2.5 hours, so you stuck it in. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to keep you for so long, but we had a lot to unpack, and I know there's more, but like, you know, we just got to like the nitty gritty.
It's been a blast, and like, you know, any phone call I get from you, any time that you call me to do a podcast, like I'm there for you, and it's been great. And I appreciate anybody that's tuned in. Anybody that you know, is willing to take the time to watch your stream and, you know, support you. Anybody that takes Ray into their heart owns a peace of mind forever. So thank you guys for that.
Oh, thank you, Blake. See, I told y'all, man. The best thing about this story, this shitty story that we had to tell about our experience with Christopher Khayman Lee, like, Blake is one of them. Like, he's a real one. Blake is a real one. I'm telling you, I hope Chris responds and tries to say something about Blake, because I will lose my shit. Because Blake's a real one. He tried so hard to keep everyone together until like it was we couldn't do it. But thank you, Blake. I appreciate you. You are welcome anytime you want. You can hit me up if you ever want to talk about anything, even if it's not about Chris. You want to get back in the game, let me know. I'm here for you always, brother.
We'll see. Like I said, you'll probably hear from me more about Logan's music more lately, because he's got some shows coming up here, and then of course Mason's got his Pokemon stuff he's doing. We're trying to get him to World Championships, and of course Emma's I don't know what she's gonna do. Like, she's either gonna do boxing or create a bomb. I don't know yet, but she'll do something.
Right. But yeah, if you gotta go, you can just dip. I'm gonna keep the stream going for a little bit to just, you know, do my outro and stuff. But if you want to just, you know, you can, I know you're not tech savvy, you can just like exit out the page and you'll go bye-bye.
All right, sounds great, guys. Thank you guys again so much for having me. It's been fun.
Of course. How do you hit me up later if you want? You know, I'm
Yes,
around.
ma'am.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
So there we go. That was Blake, everybody. Yeah, I'm getting off this cam. Y'all got me messed up. Y'all got me all messed up. There, I went on cam. Thank you so much. I'm telling y'all, man, I almost choked up a few times because that was tough. That was tough reminiscing, man. But yes, that was Blake. Logan is his son. Hopefully maybe we'll get Logan on to promote his music, because like I said, I always want to help people. And that's all that we ever did, is try to help. And unfortunately, you know, we got bit in the ass. And yeah, so I mean, fuck you, Chris. Like, that's all I gotta say. Fuck you, Christopher Khayman Lee. You know, you're kind of an asshole. Not even kind of, he just is. You have a cool chess piece. Thank you. I don't like to get on cam. I like to be comfortable, man. But you know, Blake wanted to be on cam, so I was like, all right. Because I told him, I said, listen, you don't have to be on cam if you don't want to. He came in the backstage. He was on cam. I said, all right, let me go change my outfit real quick, because I was in my pajamas, y'all. I'm not even gonna lie, like dead ass in my pajamas. I was not even trying to be on cam for this, but I had my homie here. He wanted to be cammed up, so I cammed up for him. I know Henry's like clip stuff. I'm like, you know what? This is out here for information. You know, this is here for information. And that's basically it. You got bit by a snake. Sure did. Because of Blake, we were blessed with boobies. Y'all, see, this is why I don't get on cam. Y'all talk about my damn titties instead of talking about the topic at hand. But I don't know. Maybe I'll do more cam streams. I'm gonna make y'all pay for it though, because listen, I don't want to get all dolled up. Y'all should see me when I actually doll up. It's epic. But anyways, that's all I got. Again, thank you, Blake, for coming on and telling, the stories from your perspective. And also, like I said, because I don't have physical receipts, guys. I don't have like many physical receipts about those times. I'll try to dig some up, but I doubt I'm going to find anything because I tried to dig them up before. But I have witnesses. Like I said, Blake is not the only one. We name dropped a few people. Obviously, there are a lot of people. And like I said, if y'all hear this comes across your ears, you are all welcome to come on here and tell your story. I always pride myself on using my platform to let other people have a voice. So y'all are all free to come on here and tell y'all's story, because I think it's important that people hear it. Because my whole goal is I don't want anyone to be swayed by their opinions based on our experience. If you hear this information and you still want to support Christopher Khayman Lee, feel free. Personally, I would say, I'm not going to support him. But if y'all still want to support Christopher Khayman Lee after this, knock yourselves out. Have at it. It's your money. It's your lives. Do what you want. But I just want to make sure y'all understand who you're supporting based on our perspective and our experience with him. And like I said, if Christopher Khayman Lee has a problem with it, he knows exactly who I am. Sue me, motherfucker. Sue me. You'll lose, but you can try. You can sue me. Tell me I'm lying. I dare him to tell me I'm lying. I'm thankful that there's some people in chat who remember the streams that we did, the work we put in for this community that pretty much shunned us. And because like I said, even though it was Chris, the Power Ranger community also did not help, so that's why that's the real story. Because people always ask me, when I talk about it, they're like, why aren't you part of the community anymore? And I'm like, well, this is why. This is my story. And yes, just to recap real quick for those of you who missed everything, we talked about how Christopher Khayman Lee has inappropriate relationships with ladies. We talked about how he stole ideas from me and pretty much almost everything from his former friend Rando. We talked about him threatening to beat children. We talked about his I'm not going to say the man is racist, but he has made very sus-worthy comments in regards to people of color. He has mocked people. He has mocked fans for numerous reasons. So yeah, next time you see him at a con, make sure you get a signed autograph from him and, ask him, what he really thinks about you so he can lie to your face and tell you that he's so happy and supportive, so happy and appreciative that you are there to meet him. And then go behind your back and talk about how awful that interaction he had with you was. Maybe you smelled bad, or maybe you had a mental disability that he can mock you for, or, maybe you named your kid after, one of his characters and he's going to call you stupid and say you're a bad parent for it. The usual things, the normal things good people out there say about you, the normal things. But anyways, with that said, thank y'all for being here. I'm going to get some food in my tummy. Y'all have a great rest of your thirsty ass Thursday. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Appreciate you, love you, respect y'all. Be good to each other, guys, because we got too many people out here on these streets being shitty. And I'm just freaking over it. So with that said, I'm done. And I don't know why. Listen, for the record, I'm not playing this song at this point because it's about Rican Ranger. I'm playing it because it's a banger. That's why. I'm playing it because it's a banger. Good timing. My computer just told me that my battery is at 19%. Great timing for that. So anyways, bye everybody. See you tomorrow.
Let's get it, Rican. This is it, my friend. It's the last straw, the final frontier. This is the end, my friend. You've gone too far. You've gone too far. Rican Ranger, old enough to know better. Power Ranger, old enough to know better. Green Ranger, said you about to save the Power Rangers. He said he about to save the Power Rangers. And you've gone too far, living in a fantasy lying, and you don't stop lying. Ranger. Old enough to know better, Power Ranger. Old enough to know better, Green Ranger. Said you about to save the Power Rangers. He said he about to save the Power Rangers. Yeah, you've gone too far, living in a fantasy of lying. And you don't stop lying. Yeah, Ranking Ranger.